When it happened, you sure cared.
I was asking to help. I was asking you to contact Hudayfa because he was somebody that I
And that's the answer that was given to me.
Okay, that's fine.
And then you went out of your way to try to chew me out, like, dude, really.
I'm glad that I was memorable for you.
That's not very
in like the worst way possible. like he. Anyway, it's neither here nor there.
That is the strength of men. We can brush it off. We move on and we stop dwelling in the past.
He's dwelling in the past. I've already brushed it off.
No, he's being cool about it. He's just talking. He's just saying it as a matter of fact.
The thing is I don't sit here and dwell on it 24/7.
Then why did you
I don't cry over it.
Me? Why did you keep messaging me?
What? Okay, check the DMs.
I blocked you on Telegram.
Here we go.
For one. I asked if you were okay, so.
Okay, I want to move on from this conversation.
This is where the selective memory seems to come in here.
This conversation is making me uncomfortable because I don't remember the details.
Yeah, well, I'm not. There is no real details to say. You said,
Moms, there's really no moving forward. You can't take my challenge, and I just.
That's a good analogy. Good analogy.
Yeah, right.
Johnny, do you think?
What would be the difference, Concrete, in your mother and God?
Johnny, you're taking all the fun out of the conversation, Johnny.
I get
it. You've been waiting to do your shtick for a while. I did see you. I saw you in the chat. You said Andrew asked me 30 minutes ago or something like that, and that was about 2 hours ago, if not a longer time. So I get it. You're chomping at the bit.
It wasn't 2 hours.
If you're gonna regale us with.
You guys are everything I have to work on.
I can hear
That noise is really
like
dark.
What's in that man here?
Hey, come on, bro.
I just realized you guys have like.
Come on, comedian. Come on. Come on, bro. How you doing? Okay, hold on.
Channel 5, we're dragging already.
Sorry, it's like my sound attack on people. It's my Zen Bell weapon. It's how I wake people up from the slumber.
I don't know. These newbies.
Let them kick. Become fascist in the process.
Nothing ever.
I was looking at everybody in the room about the grin like, nah.
Are we really gonna go back to Ultra Derecha?
Put the zipper up, and you're like, listen, I can just go to the prom and we can deal with it later.
Oh, I remember that scene.
Yeah, like the guy literally wants to go to the prom with Mary. And he's like, I'll just unwind my dick from the zipper later, like, as if that's a reasonable solution. And then what happens?
It's a very simple analogy.
That's like so many people in the world. That's how they deal with things.
It was just Clubhouse.
I'm just saying, it escalates and it escalates, and then suddenly you find yourself in handcuffs, and you're like, how did I end up here? And it's like, well, because every time that we were going to resolve a problem, you said, nah, I don't want to talk about it. Not now. I don't have time for this. Okay, well, it's like Simon says, you can avoid reality, but you can't avoid the consequences of reality.
Yeah. Well, Hassan, I'm very sorry for anything that I said to you that was not justified. I don't remember all the things that I said to you or
But she
didn't say,
means
but I'm
the
sorry.
ones that were justified, she's not sorry for, bro.
I mean, like, I mean, it is
And
what it is.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm not gonna be hypocritical on certain things because I'm a bit forgetful. But like, you know.
All I remember you telling me is about the black sites and that I'm going to end up in a black site. That's all I remember you telling me.
Like, out of all the things I told you,
What is the black
the
site?
only thing.
That's all I remember.
Oh, we talked about this earlier. Never mind. I remember.
Yeah, and, like, I remember you used to just bombard me with questions about religion. Mm-hmm. Like, no. Like, I remember that. That was my first experience in interacting with you. And I didn't think much of it.
That's cool. The only person I remember from Clubhouse from back in the day is Khalifa.
Do you ever remember somebody named Hattie?
No, but Khalifa was just such a respectful man. Like, I follow him on Twitter and everything he says about Palestine, and I just respect him so much. Like I really, really have so much respect for him. He's probably one of the very only Muslims that I met on this app that I actually think is a Muslim.
She's the only Muslim.
Yeah,
She's the arbitrator of who is a Muslim.
Oh, it's my shit. My bad.
The feedback is like tremendous.
Yeah, I thought it was me, so I muted myself for a second, but it was still pretty bad.
What's up, Nuda?
I wasn't looking at my phone. I didn't know if it was still in the room. Oh.
Is there feedback now?
Testing 1, 2, 3. No.
Okay.
That's good.
Oh, Diego, check my PTR.
By the way, Diego, Lou defended me today against Randy. Like, he was such a gentleman.
That has literally nothing to do with that. Just the principle.
Said you were gonna let me
I
go.
can't
bro.
stand Lou. He's so
I'm
stupid.
sorry.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
if I were to tell you, hey Johnny, I don't believe you have a boss unless you tell him to meet me at the bottom of the Grand Canyon on January 1st,
Right.
which is to say, it's no different than saying produce your God right here, right now, right?
Oh, it's extremely different.
Oh, okay.
Extremely
So
different.
let me ask you this question real quick.
My boss isn't God.
Hold
My boss
on,
ain't
bro.
created.
Hold on, bro.
I'm just
Would it?
conversation, brother. We
I
had.
got you, bro. You were screaming. You were screaming when you were like over talked.
No.
I asked you to like let me go. You said you were gonna do it, and here we are, right?
Yeah, well,
So-
it's a different. It's me and you. A while ago, I screamed because there was like 4 of you talking all at the same time. Wouldn't let me talk. That's why.
But Johnny, you agree that it would be unreasonable.
Sir, you have to understand the
Oh
nuance.
my gosh,
Okay, go ahead, Concrete.
Johnny, you agree that it would be unreasonable and irrational for me to conclude that if you don't bring your boss to a specific location at a specific time, which will be here and now, that would be unreasonable for me to say that your boss doesn't exist, right? That would be foolish of me, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right.
I'll go along with you. Yeah, but is your boss God? Answer that.
Why would that be necessary?
No. Yes or no?
Why would that be necessary?
God.
I'm going on mute, Josh.
Because God can do whatever he wants. Your boss. Thank you.
Can he be manipulated upon my command?
Have you ever heard?
Can he be manipulated upon my command, Johnny?
Have you ever heard?
Can he be manipulated
Wait,
upon my command?
Johnny, if God can do whatever he wants, can God exist and not reveal himself to you?
Wait, now I've got somebody else talking.
Johnny,
Was somebody crashing out just a second ago? Concrete, was that you?
Johnny, I have a question for you.
Like this, I think you're
not gonna get nothing else out of Concrete. So
Okay.
yeah, Johnny, I got a question for you.
Yes,
If God can do anything, can God exist and not reveal himself to you?
Wait. asked me this and asked me again.
God asked you.
I heard you say that God can do anything. My question is...
Oh, it's Nathan. Nathan, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nathan.
If that's the case, can God exist and not reveal himself to you?
Can God exist and not reveal? Of course he could.
Okay.
Is
So
that a
how
God
would I
thing?
be able to show you God if God won't reveal himself to you?
Because you're the one that says that God exists. I don't know how. That's your problem. I don't know how you'd be able to do it.
So look, so God bless people like the theists, right? The ones who believe in God. God has given them the ability. Listen. Yeah, I know.
Well, okay, thank you for acknowledging that.
Yeah, I get it.
It's not my problem, so don't ask me how to do it. You're the one that.
Listen, it's like like a person that's colorblind who's incapable of seeing like certain colors. That's the way you are with God.
Yeah,
so
exactly,
God bless
right. Yeah.
Johnny. So God bless
Listen
people.
to me.
Johnny, hear me out, bro. Hear me out.
Yeah, okay, but
God
it doesn't have anything to do with
blessed theists with this thing called common sense, bro.
All right.
And a lot of atheists don't have it. Yeah.
Right, we don't have any common sense. I'm the biggest
Exactly
that the planet ever knew. But listen, that doesn't help your dilemma. Your dilemma is
I'm not in a dilemma. That's me. You're doing it again.
Wait. Do I need to shout? Your dilemma is that you cannot produce your claim.
Johnny, sir.
And I don't give a shit about Johnny.
Johnny, I'm gonna tell you where this comes from. You have a bad relationship with your father, bro. That's why you want to submit to God. You're scared of authority. That's all that is right there, bro.
But once again, Nathan, it's not about John.
Keep talking.
No. You think
What it's about, brother, listen to me. What it's about is that
listen, you're gonna get older, brother. And you're gonna settle down. That childish way of thinking, like you're a spoiled baby. You gotta sit. Listen.
Keep yelling.
You're gonna have to talk to God about all the shit you've done.
For you to smoke with me, yes or no? Listen to me.
Feliz 5 de Mayo, Danny.
I want you to listen. The problem
Yo deseo una cerveza
cannot back it
y una tequila para tú y tu padre y tu mamacita y tu hermano.
Johnny, this is historically bad, man.
This might be my last night, so I just want it recorded.
You're quitting Clown House?
History is bad. Nathan, back
No,
on.
I have a colonoscopy
Why
tomorrow.
is somebody else
Not just regularly bad.
Oh, I hope you have a good bowel movement in the morning.
White night for Nathan.
You know, there's
No,
atheists
it's
in
gonna
here.
be all night.
They're ashamed that you're
All
You
night.
know that, right?
All night long. All night.
Yeah, I know.
All night. All night long. All night.
Oh, I can't see God.
All
God doesn't
night.
exist. Give me one
All
argument
night
why God doesn't
long.
exist.
All night.
Well, you can
All
turn it around.
night long. All night.
Or I want
Well,
you to
Nathan,
acknowledge
Can't follow simple directions, bro.
That was 15, Nathan.
You can-
I
you
asked
can
for an
shift gears
iPhone,
all
and
the
God
way.
It's always the same thing with them, bro.
Here we go. We got 20 people.
It's either.
Nathan,
Oh.
you can shift gears all you like, and I
This
will.
God
answer
wants
that
me
Are
to.
you
question.
everyone in this room,
This
including
God,
you?
wants me to not be an alcoholic. This God wants
Are
me
you
to-
thinking
It's like
inside your
being
head and
self-control.
projecting out to me, and I'm projecting inside my head back out to you right now?
And I asked God for
Hello.
Projector like human design.
He didn't give it to
All
me. Therefore, he
night
doesn't
long.
exist.
All night. All
So,
night.
Nathan, would you like to back up your claim or not?
And then Nate, money was this other time where I was riding down the street, right, in my parents' car.
This is the
And,
dumbest.
it was
I
going
hate
about
people.
65
Danny,
pounds,
I
and
think
I
I'm
said,
beginning
"God,
to
it's
become
cool."
a real
He said,
hermit
"Nathan,
because
God
I
don't
really
70 pounds.
hate
Then he
people.
goes, "God doesn't exist."
I've truly
Then he
learned
goes,
to
Are you
hate
making fun of
humanity.
my accent?
And if it was legal, I would carry a firearm on me. And if anybody that I felt should no longer live because they are an absolute drain on
Is this the
society.
intellectual side of God belief?
I would probably
Bro.
ask them
That's
to
literally how
please
you're
step
arguing.
aside.
You don't even see it.
Johnny, you're not an atheist, bro. What you are is a lukewarm Christian.
But this is how stupid you are. I didn't put out.
No, not even that. You know, let me don't be charitable. You're a backsliding Christian. That's all you are, bro.
Somebody that made a
Listen,
proposition
it's gonna be okay, bro. It's gonna be
none
okay.
of you can back it up.
A little Bible will clean up that dang terrible life,
and you're
bro.
so mad that now you're down to making.
You hear that, Nathan? You hear it? You hear it, Nathan?
That's how upset you
God
are
damn it.
because you can't produce your claim. How does it feel to know that your God's existence
That's goddamn
depends
right, Johnny.
upon how
I'm
well
gonna
you
give
can
them,
argue for it on social media? How does that feel?
Absolutely, Johnny.
It's an empty
I asked him
fucking
the same
feeling,
thing,
isn't it?
Johnny. How does it
Empty
feel?
fucking feeling.
How
isn't it?
does it feel?
I imagine that
Empty as
the same
fuck.
way people
Hey,
arguing that God
Nathan,
doesn't
whenever you
exist.
don't want to run,
I don't know
you
why
can
people do this.
answer my question.
Bro, I got you figured out, bro. You're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, I
Age. If I was drinking.
Dime a dozen. That was funny.
Why do you want to live
Feels
forever?
like you are
I
dime
don't.
it does,
Just
and
wanna
she
live healthy.
said, well, actually,
I'm
boys
good
like
to
you
go
is the
now.
line.
How old are you, Danny?
You mean you feel healthy now?
Because overrated,
No, I'm good to
you're
go now.
lush,
Like,
and I
can
hate
pass
it.
away
And
fine
the grass
now.
stains on my knees, they won't mean a thing.
If
said,
internet
why do you
comedy
wanna
ever
live forever?
becomes
I
the
said, I
thing,
don't.
you're
I'm
gonna
good
be
to go now.
gold, Danny. Gold.
That's just Taking Back Sunday. It's just a song lyric. I didn't write it.
That's fine.
I'm just saying you're like a character.
Is that a danger to myself?
Maybe you're not
Diego?
that funny, but you're a character.
It doesn't sound like
I'm
a nice
not
thing to
funny.
say.
It sucks. I wish I was funny.
I think you could be
It's a
funny,
weird- it's
but
a
you're
weird-
not
it's a weird
actually like.
response, but
I mean,
the
honestly, you should try to be
context
funny
is-
on Shabbos. Like, have a
The good
big glass of
diet. I
wine,
wanna
smoke
be
a
good.
joint, come on here and do comedy, and it will be funny.
That's
Just roast
Billy Joel
But
people.
it has to be Shabbos. Like, is there like a special Jewish
I was listening
power
to
of
Billy Joel
Shabbos
today.
and comedy and like
Well,
Clubhouse or
only the
Yeah,
something?
yeah, you'll be breaking Shabbos protocols, so it'll be extra
Today I
spicy.
found out I was my grandpa.
Oh, what's it about that? I found, like, I think I missed that conversation.
Jeez, you guys must really be bored because, like, I haven't heard an intelligent thing in, like, at least an hour. I mean, are you all, like, doing something productive in the background or something right now? What's happening?
I'm on the
You heard an intelligent. You're saying you've heard an intelligent thing.
Listen, Luges, Loges, whatever you call yourself. I mean, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? Because Clown House ain't going nowhere.
Man, if I knew the answer to that, that's a consideration.
Yeah, I listen to people. I've been listening to you guys this room all day. I mean, it's a miracle that Diego finds the time to actually host a room all day long. It's just remarkable usage of time. Clearly, he's developing an ingenious business at this very moment.
Such a hypocrite. What's that look?
I've only been here for like.
I can admire the fact how we can say something like
Adrian,
I
don't
mean,
be jealous
have-
that you don't have
I know you went to the gym, Brincesia, but the fact that you're on here while you're at the gym is a net negative, stupid. You got to turn the phone off when you go to the gym. Don't be one of those losers at the gym looking at their phone.
Well, I'm just
Okay, I'll tell you why not, because
I
it's
mean,
a song.
the gym is
She's got it set up so she can see her ass with her lemon lulus, and she gets mad when people walk in between her and her
Put down the
camera.
ducky. Put down the ducky. It's from Sesame Street. Put down the ducky. You wanna play the
Oh, this is Diego's.
Can we play Barney?
There was this guy on the leg extension machine today looking at his cell phone. This guy comes up, he goes, "Can I hop in?" He goes, "I got one more set, man. One more set." And the guy sat there and looked at his phone for 10 more minutes. And the fucking loser sat there and watched him look at his cell phone for 10 minutes.
That's abusive.
that point, you just gotta commit hate crimes.
Then there's another fat girl on the leg extension machine. There's only 2 leg extenders, and she's also on her phone for 15 minutes. It's like, you fat fucks, stop using your phones 24 hours a day.
So it's better to have your AirPods in and your phone away from you charged.
I've never taken my phone on one of my runs in the morning. Why would like in the military? You're not allowed to run with fucking music in your ears because you'll get run over by a tank.
The point is, you're not getting it, that people are looking at their phone for dopamine. And, I do this like the way you guys do it, but the point is, I'm at least recording something, creating a record of this, but most people are just looking at their phones for the dopamine, but they're not actually creating anything. So it's a very bad trade-off. It's dopamine for no gain.
You think that because the replays are on, people are going to remember this shit?
I just do judo and wrestling exercises at college.
I know.
I do that for about 3 hours.
It's like an empty hole.
Well, I mean, you keep throwing a hot dog down a hallway and expecting to please a chick.
I know.
Seems like a normal.
I would just lift, and if you're lifting for like 3 hours, it's like
Lifting for 3 hours? Who lifts for 3 fucking hours? Who comes on Clown House 40 hours a fucking week? 80 hours a fucking week.
Dude, like on my best, I would squat 315. I could do it 8 times, no problem.
Wow.
But I would do 8, and then I would do 6, and then I would do 4.
Dang.
Like, but this bitch said he's gonna do it for 3 hours. Motherfucker, I get that done in 10 minutes.
That's why he's throwing the stones. He doesn't care.
Did any of you even do an undergrad degree?
Yep.
Sadly.
I didn't go to college.
Well, you're a self-taught praxeologist. You should be teaching praxeology to the world. I don't know why you haven't packaged it up and started selling a system yet here on Clown House. You're here so much, you might as well start selling praxeology because it's a winning system for success, right? Duh.
Diego, you're a Harvard professor.
Oh, thank you. Dave is definitely the loudest guy in the room.
So what Edmund's saying is, so you guys didn't pay for college and go through college and then use what you learned and on Clubhouse 24 hours a day.
Oh yeah, I use what I learned in school.
Lou, people are saying you're boring. All right, you're getting sleep emojis over here.
Hey, one of the hold on. One of the whatever account you lost on YouTube yesterday, one of the fucking I don't know what you would call them. They're not people, but one of the accounts, it posted in the live chat, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Because it was in a different language. And when I put that into a translator, it was literally saying it's OpenAI, yada yada yada. So I wonder if that's what got you said it was
No. This guy Longmont Potion Castle has filed multiple copyright claims against all my accounts, and that one got deleted, and it's you just got to let it go. It's like because you're not making any money from it. It's like, okay, oops, I guess I lost a couple years of recordings, but
Why? What is he?
Nothing. It's his name. It's just his fucking name, Longmont Potion Castle. He's upset that I'm creating YouTube videos called Longmont Potion Castle prank calls, and I'm just putting Clubhouse videos up, and it's like diluting his brand. So he's obsessive about it, and he has filed multiple copyright claims. Yeah.
Is it that guy that you played one of the recordings where you're like losing your shit laughing? The pizza. I want to order 3 pounds of pizza. Is that you?
I think maybe that's the Mary Kate Ashley pizza party video. I think. I don't know what I don't know what you're gonna do. Lou, do you even have a YouTube account? Like, do you have a job? Like, what do you do here? Who are you?
I'm a professional father.
No, I know you go to Costco and you're a praxeologist. I've seen you in your jalopy, but Lou, like, what do you do? Do you live in your mom's basement? Do you rent a studio apartment? Do you have a job? Do you have savings? Like, what's going on? Hello?
No, I'm burning. I'm basically burning. I need to get a job. I'm burning through all of the savings I had. So.
How do you have savings if what decide to stop being successful?
Well, I mean, what do you?
Why am I here? What the fuck is this?
What are you gonna do?
He's burning through the mid-eye oil.
What are you gonna do? You gonna go work at Jiffy Lube, change oil?
Hold on. Did I hear?
He's screaming to somebody else.
No, I got another room. I got another room open called Chillism Clowns. Doc is in there.
Not gonna Abby, probably.
No, Abby is in Clown House Comedy Room under the name Deborah.
I mean, I'll go in. I'll go in the gig.
No, Deborah's Abby. It's gotta be.
So damn far down the hallway, I don't even see him.
I'm in Where Art Thou, the Ultra Dereche room with Diego Portnoy.
Diego Portnoy?
He probably did it himself. I think he set it all up himself. I think Portnoy was the one who told him to put it on the sign, and it's fake outrage, and he's just paying for this trip. It's all a giant setup. Fucking delusional retard. Jesus. That is ultimate derangement syndrome right there. Ultra derecha syndrome.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, that made me laugh yesterday.
So
I don't get why you would send the Auschwitz. It doesn't like the fuck the Jews. Is like, is it not clearly about fucking the war that's going on now? Like, why Auschwitz? They weren't denying the Holocaust.
that's my whole point, bro. That's like why it's a psyop.
Did you see one of the posts where he was like, I won't fuck their lives up or whatever if they're willing to do some. I forget how he phrased it, but there's a thing called there's anti-Semitism classes apparently.
Of course.
Did you know that?
That's literally whatever you see on the media TV. That's a class right there.
No, but like for him to phrase it that way, it's like, is there actually a program that like you get ordered to, or that you could, I guess, take or pay for, where they teach you how to not be? Oh my God. We have to teach them how to not hate Jews. It's like, well, it's like simultaneously kind of.
Well, you could also just go to the psych ward like Nora and have some nice Jewish psychiatric nurses, tell you how pretty you are, and then you could come out and be like, they were so nice. It was my re-education. It was exactly what I needed. You might want to tell the judge exactly what happened to you and why you were screaming that stuff out. And, and just be honest about it. Say, I have been influenced by online trolls. His name is Diego. He lives in San Diego. He's a fucking Nazi, and he hangs out with Nazis. And I got brainwashed by a couple of Nazi Jew haters, and this is what happened to me. And I was having a mental health breakdown, and I'm sorry.
Hearing all the Jews and the Zionists say what they said, I internalize that stuff, and that's why I leave the room now when they start talking about it too much, because I can't handle it.
Well, what you needed, your defense has to be mental health crisis. You have to get a psychiatrist's note saying this woman suffers from this diagnosis, and the online media was driving her up the wall, and she apologizes profusely. You've got to make it into a medical health crisis issue. That's your legal defense advice from me.
Trust me, he knows.
The judge is going to look leniently on that. If you go in there with some type of political position and you don't bring a medical diagnosis up, you're literally going to have bigger problems. So you have to say exactly, the truth, that that you suffer from mental health issues and that you were having an absolutely atrocious day, and you were having an episode, and that's, you have to have a witness. You have to fucking have a defense. If you think you're going to walk in there with some bullshit ass attorney, a court appointed, who's going to even present any type of evidence or follow any procedure.
That's why I'm writing my own motions.
Jesus, I don't know. What are your charges? Because you might. Oof, I don't know about writing your own motions. Like you could write your own motions, but
this is my charges. This is my charges. Hold on. My charges are.
people that have mental health issues go through this shit all the time. Like this is what they ask you. Do you have any legal problems?
PO 240.33, PO 140.10A, and PO 140.05.
So that's not
Just
bad.
get the titles and tell us what the titles are. I mean, I'm not going to Google it for you.
No. And then I have also.
Why? That was mean. That was rude.
Diego, what is that sign? And sorry, Lou. What is that sign? And that looks like an S. What is it? How does that read?
Fiction.
What is it?
Fiction.
Section. And so CPL section 30.30, I could file a motion under that.
We don't know what that means.
No.
We don't know what that section is, dude.
CPL, not that. That one is for a speedy trial. The other one is CPL section 170.31A. That's what I can file a motion under to dismiss.
Well, that one could work. I don't know what that is, dude.
Yeah, you could file your motion to dismiss, but you're going to need to include a summary statement why you're asking the court to dismiss. And then
I have to. I'm just waiting to get my mind a little bit sharper because I'm still under the influence. So when I'm maybe.
Well, you can use Grok or ChatGPT.
Is she in the Matrix?
When's your trial? When is your trial?
Would you take time out of your busy day, John, and do this for her?
No, he is.
No, I mean, I'd be happy to look at whatever she prepares, and I could give her my opinion.
Did you prepare it for her though?
I don't want to do all the formatting. She needs to try to do it. Do at least a first run, and then I could touch it up. But I'm not going to draft anything for anybody. I have enough drafting to do myself. Got enough work over here. Not going to take on somebody's pro bono case. I mean,
I saw Grok. I think didn't they say that you can ask it to do legal formatting now?
Yeah.
And does it?
Yeah, probably.
That's
You can also just draft something and then upload it. Yeah, attach the document and say draft this for legal like a legal submission. It doesn't the whole thing is it doesn't really matter if it's formatted perfectly. You just want to make it look good, but you want to fit in. But at the end of the day, you don't know how this is going to go. You need to have witnesses, and you need to have a conversation with your court-appointed attorney prior to the actual trial to discuss procedure and what you're anticipating. For Christ's sake, I don't know what those numbers are.
You just walk in.
Yeah.
With, an attorney that you have no idea what they're really actually going to.
They're gonna wing it.
Fucking scared.
They're gonna wing it on the moment, and maybe what if what if you request a jury trial? That's a $600 fee. I mean, you don't know. They might try to pin you against the ground and give you some type of deal or take what if you're actually facing jail time? I mean, do you have any idea how fucked up that would be? As opposed to some type of community service work or something? I mean, have you looked at what those numbers are in the civil procedure code or whatever?
Yeah.
Then what are does it also tell you what the maximum punishment is?
Yeah.
What does it tell you the maximum punishment?
One of them is 1 year prison, the other one 6 months.
Yeah, see, this is where it's maybe you could negotiate prior to get some type of community service where you could actually pre-negotiate prior to trial. So this is where you pay an attorney to try. What do you think these attorneys do? They negotiate settlements before everything goes to trial.
It's an ACD.
Why do you think Jews running the whole thing, Lou? They love to haggle.
Jews got nothing to do with Jews. She's probably going to have a black court-appointed attorney who's going to show up and say, "What did you do?" and then you're going to explain the story, and then it's going to be like
Exactly
no
what happened.
preparation.
Exactly what happened.
Yeah, no preparation, no negotiation, no settle. Because you could try to get a settlement prior to this. Actually, in fact, you could even sue and like a reverse sue. Basically, I mean, that's why it does pay to have an attorney who can actually file motions, file new lawsuits. Because you could technically sue, like, and then you can get a better settlement if you sue. So it's like, you know.
Who am I suing?
The city of New York. I mean, the psychiatric facility, the police officer, the Jewish guy, and
I
the.
already sent the psychiatric hospital statement.
Anyways, because of the
a statement.
because of the like because they violated your privacy rights. There's all types of like ways to
They did.
fight back.
How did they know that I was? How did they know I was in the hospital? That's the other thing. They were waiting for me right outside the. Like, how did they know I was there?
Well, that's why, like,
They-
you know, if you're facing a year and a half in prison, like, you should be confident prior to court that like you're gonna
and
get.
you know how I know my name it was violated because my name was not Nura Shadash. It was Nura Bandura.
Listen, I don't know what to tell you. Like, these things don't mean shit, but like, if you don't have a criminal defense attorney, like, I don't know, why don't you, if you can get $5,000 together, why don't you like try to hire yourself a professional criminal defense attorney?
John, your people are getting really sloppy and setting people up. Like, you guys are fucking up on simple things.
I hate to tell you this, but you're so stupid and delusional. She's like facing actual jail time, and you're making a joke out of it.
Get the hell out of here with that. Don't be scared, my girl.
Don't be scaring my girl. Like, I hate to tell you this, but you know, I don't know. You're a praxeologist, maybe a chiropractor, maybe an economist, but like, you're no fucking paralegal. Even apparently, you're the shittiest paralegal I've ever heard of.
Unbelievable.
I mean, if I was going to court and I had a year and a half possible maximum sentence, like, I would have this whole thing completely solved before I even walked into that fucking court. You're running a big risk by not figuring this out prior to the trial. That's my
I
opinion.
know that's what the attorney that I called told me. He said that because I was like, can I wait until after June 10th? Because that's when my court is. But we'll see.
Look, dude, I don't have any experience in this, but I have an instinct. And my instinct tells me, you know, if John is correct about that, you're just going to get some black guy that's going to come and say, what did you do? Why don't you just, like, you know, tone it down for the attorney and just be like, yeah, I yelled at some guy and they kicked me out of a building.
Okay.
Huh?
And he's like, that's it? And you're like, yeah, basically. Is there anything you're not telling me? What do you want to know? Did you do your fucking research, bitch?
Yeah, she watched the video. It's a female, but she watched the video. And she said that it was clear that he was instigating you. That's where I got that from.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so that sounds good. John, it's not as bad as you think, man. You're trying to scare her and shit.
But is it
Typical Jewish tactics.
How is it? Well, it depends what she's being charged with. I forget what it is.
Bro,
like,
John just wants her to like.
instigation.
He wants her to plead to something that she isn't even gonna like.
I don't think.
end up
Yeah, I think he's being genuine. I think maybe that's not the right advice.
No, you should be able to negotiate a settlement where you volunteer so many hours for community service. And actually, I would be proactive about it. I would probably like find a rabbi or some type of Jewish charity and say, listen, I made a big mistake and I got a legal problem and I want to make a mitzvah and a tzedakah and I want to volunteer my time prior to the sentence so I can submit an affidavit to the judge saying that I've been proactive about trying to heal the divide in the community.
John, wait, hold on.
I'm a politician. This is how you have to create content to justify and to get yourself out of trouble.
John, what do they call friends of the court that write letters to the court? Amicus brief?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about because I've seen it before, yeah.
Can you literally, why don't you just write an amicus brief and say, I'm part Jewish, he's my girlfriend, she's not, like, she doesn't mean these things, it's all gravy.
Are you projecting?
I'm not part Jewish.
Sounds to me like you're projecting.
Identifiable with my.
You may have missed the part there where I said you'd be proactive about trying to like volunteer time and saying you made a big mistake and a faux pas, and you want to like help the Jewish community and make amends and say I'm sincerely sorry and I'm a peaceful person. I'm nonviolent and I was having a bipolar manic episode. I was under a lot of stress. You're gonna have to like know what to say. If you just go in there with your stupid typical bullshit and you don't rehearse yourself, like you're gonna maybe go to jail. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm telling you to try to be more proactive and take more action now.
You know how busy those jails are? Why would they want Nuda in there?
It's 2025 and you know, Trump is the president and I don't know who controls or who she's going to face, but you don't know. Like, it's possible that a prosecutor just meets with you prior and says, listen, I'm willing to like, you know, waive the charges.
Make an example of me.
Ooh, so this is why you've got to be proactive and strategic and conservative and swift. You have to be swift. That's the big word, swiftness.
Did you, Nuda, get arraigned?
I was arraigned on March 10th. Yeah.
And so, who's the prosecutor?
At the time, it was another African American woman. I don't know her name.
Mm-hmm. So it's wow. Okay.
And then you said some of the evidence was like you calling people niggers.
So she just told the whole story to the judge right there when you got arraigned?
No.
Oh, okay.
She went up to the bench. My attorney went up to the bench and said something to the lawyer because they wanted me to have supervised release. But before that, it was going to be a big bail. But I think some people made some phone calls for me. I don't know. Because the charges by the NYPD were much bigger than what the ADA or the DA gave me.
Isn't that usually the case? Or no?
I don't know.
They're going to just like charge you with everything when they arrest you.
I really hate that Adrian is streaming this. So, let's not talk about it. But I was wearing a hijab.
You could kick him, I guess. I mean, I think he is giving you good advice. But I see. Look,
Diego,
I'm a nobody, but I don't think you're not going. They're not going to put you in prison.
He'll be back.
Yeah, I think somebody else opened up a room. I just didn't think I did it fast.
Fuck? Yeah, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, niggas. Oh, look, bro. I think there's another room though.
That was weird, but all right, everybody's back.
Racist, supremacist, racist in this nation. What would the visual description be like?
Okay, well, there's two of them. There's two that get on my nerves.
Oh,
there's
two.
Really three. There's three. There's really three types. There's three types of racist people.
So there's
okay?
not two. Okay, all right. Let me hear this.
And one of these racist people, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta have some more grace on them because there's something called a repentant racist, man. They don't get enough time. But let's go for the other ones. So the first one is the real estate racist. It's the person. It's a group of people in real estate, and they make it hard for white people who try to do business with black people, and they make it hard for black people who try to acquire property and assets in real estate, right? And then there's the southern disloyal American racists. Okay, that's them, and you know they are.
Here we go with the blockbuster hypnosis.
Okay, wait, maybe this is one of them, or this is the descendant. I don't know, but.
No, man, you guys should kick this dude out. He's recording.
Yeah. Keep going up to young girls on a bus.
Yeah, definitely.
You ever get that bus cam footage from when you attacked those two young girls on a bus?
Whatever you say.
White people, we have our own issues.
Ghostwriter.
We have our own issues. We're trying to figure out. Why, Black, are you done? Okay. So you know, and the other racist person that we have is the white Southerner. And this person, they have, you know, overalls, you know what I'm saying, good sized belly. They don't speak with any enunciation or proper pronunciation. Okay, they like to wave that flag in the South that said that we don't want to be American anymore. I don't like to speak too much on that because it hurts my patriotic heart.
Please don't scroll. I'm just trying to.
That's the other type of racist. You know, they're very quiet. They mind their business, and they like to stay in the outskirts. They don't like to live in a city. I like to be around that. So yeah, then you got the repentant racists. You know, that's the white person who, you know, they're just minding their own white business, living their own white life. You know, they don't dislike blacks, but they don't really want them around. You know,
Please
they don't really know the right things to say. You know, so they're just being a whitey, white, and they're just living their life. And a lot of times these a whitey, white life. You know what I'm saying? They're just living white. And then sometimes what happens with these people is sometimes they'll open up their mouth and they might say something that's not necessarily culturally appropriate, and they will get shunned. I feel sorry for this person. They have my heart. I don't care even if they're mad and they say the N-word. Look, hey, you have a friend over here. I understand. There are no rules in insults. I don't know where people get those rules and insults. Like, what the fuck? You're gonna insult. You're gonna bother me. I'm gonna bother you. You bother me. I go below the belt. Now you want to expose me? It's fucking lame.
See, I thought you were gonna be a little bit more honest. Maybe I was too naive. But I'm sorry. But I thought you were gonna be a little bit more honest.
I might be ignorant. Help me out.
Well, you know, if I had to give a description of the actual supremacist, you know, racist, it's actually a melanated person. It's actually the person who makes the investment into the belief that racism is at their doorstep every single day that they go and open up the door and walk through their own threshold.
Like The View, it's like they perpetuate it.
That walk through their own threshold, and they believe that as soon as they walk through that threshold, the world is out to get them. And that is the true racist.
Wait, I don't think so. I think
it's
the ones that don't know, or it's the people that know that aren't really, like, they're purposely pushing a narrative knowing that, like, what they're saying is, like, they're being dishonest. Like, the View. I don't believe that Whoopi Goldberg really thinks that, like, black people are, like, everything that she says, I don't think she says it with conviction. And the people that essentially she grabs a hold of and, like, pulls at their heartstrings, those people, I don't think they're the ones that are racist. I think that they're just
Whoopi Goldberg is one of the most racist people on daytime television. Like, what are we talking about?
I guess the point is that it's the people that know what they're fucking doing.
Whoopi Goldberg is extremely racist.
Wait, Aaron, because that's what I said before. I said it's the people who wake up and literally these are the people who make the intentional effort to put into this belief system, because that's what, I'm sorry, we're all adults in this room, but what fuels you as a being is your belief system. Yeah. What you believe is what literally fuels you each and every hour of the day, is what you believe in. If you didn't believe in something, right, then you would see the side of that as well. You would see, if you didn't believe in God, for example, you know, there's a lived experience that you will have if you don't believe in God. And I'm just somebody who thinks that when we have these conversations about who the racist is, who is against, what was it in the room earlier?
Andrew, you're right, but Andrew, you're right.
Hold on, let me finish this one sentence, because we were talking about diversity and inclusion earlier, and there was this girl on the stage, and she was like, those who, it's a detriment to the business owners if they don't have this diversity and inclusion, because they're making a threat to themselves. Like, but who's gonna put action into that threat? She's like, the public. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're fucking delusional. You really believe that the public, the mass of this nation is going to be the ones who put the action into the actual threat. No, it's gonna be the individual with a
a fucked up mentality with the selfish, narrow mindset that somebody's out to get them every fucking day of their life, that they can't make sustainability happen for themselves and generate prosperity for themselves because some fucking mystery person who just so happens to be white is somewhere in their way. Like, it's crazy. And they actually look for it. Like, if I look for a fucking problem, I can find one. I guarantee you. That's why I come into Clubhouse. So, sorry, I'm joking.
No, I feel you, Angel. You 100% right, and you're right. I did not include them in my settlement, and I do that.
Oh, you didn't give any description to them.
No, I didn't because
they're all white.
Because Angel,
they were interestingly all male.
Angel, love you. I know, I understand, but look. See, I'm an equal opportunist. When it comes to that, I don't like to have them conversations around white people or on white spaces. Because the way I grill black people about that shit, the way I grill niggas about nigga shit, it's not for white people to hear. It's not. It's really not. It's really not. But you're right. I did not include them, and that was my apology. They're in there. I don't like these black terrorists, and I don't really want to go into debt because, like I said, the way I grill that shit. But I don't like the black terrorists. If I could just find them and the few other just black opposition, if I could just find these people and just move these people to an island, we can get them all out of here, but definitely, yeah, they're definitely part of the racist family of them.
No, check it out. White people are not holding black people down. Black people are holding black people down.
Can we not do this in front of white people, please, Jesus Christ?
There is no such thing as a white person. There is no such thing as a black person. There are only the righteous and the wicked.
I think they like to hear it. Like, even as a black woman, I've had rooms showing love to white folks. I've been called a bed witch and things like that. I understood as a little girl that you can't win them all. Not everybody's going to love you. But once again, it's like a broken record. All they got to do is say a black person or a black woman said they didn't like us, and here we go. A bunch of black people have to take turns kissing where the sun doesn't shine. So once again, the next time I have a room showing love to white folks, are you guys going to be there to defend me when they call me a bad witch?
Just
or are you just happy to hear a bunch of men kissing on that? Oh, okay.
You know what I found interesting earlier in our conversation was the topic around the diversity and inclusion. And I know the young lady was just trying to, get me to understand her perspective of this. But what's very interesting is that you have Black people who will literally be open and they'll be honest and they'll say, hey, listen, like, I won't support a Black business. Like, I just won't do it. And when you begin to talk about this diversity and inclusion and, the companies who had to be forced to create, or structure this in their businesses, you begin to have this, a little bit more of a gazed lens per se in regards to, well, how does this make sense, right? Like, why didn't diversity and inclusion be solely for Black business owners? Like, why wasn't it just an element that was promoted specifically for and only Black businesses? Like, create diversity and inclusion within your own community and elevate it to its truth, because the truth of the matter is that there are such injustices, there are such prejudices, and there are such biases that reside within the community that literally creates the actual detriment that many fall victim to, regardless of where they're starting off, whether it's coming from a D zone real estate area or they're coming from an A zone real estate area. It doesn't matter. It was funny that Big Rex, you were like, oh, the first one is this, this real estate racist, right? Well, we all know that real estate really is kind of the foundation of wealth for this nation, right? Like, that's where people took all their money, right? Is into their real estate and their assets, let's just to say. But there's this conversation that's not had about, what it means to be diverse and included within the community. It's only portrayed on something that belongs into.
What is all this babbling, Angel? What are you even talking about anymore? This is just like rambling.
Can I ask something real quick, man? I'm gonna be real with y'all. I can tell that most of y'all don't really like interact with black people like in real life. Like, number one, man, black folks ain't really thinking about y'all like that. That's number one. Like, Clubhouse is a world within a world, man. Y'all know that this shit don't really exist in the outdoors, man. It's a lot of things that, like, when you live in certain environments that you're dealing with, you're not thinking about no motherfucking white people because you don't even see white people. That's number one. When it pertains to black businesses, I would ask how many of y'all venture into a predominantly black area in your city and go shop at a black business. Like, I don't have to think about shopping at black businesses because that's just what it is. Like, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to force myself to go say, let me go shop at a black business. Like, I'm around black people. I know black people of all walks of life. I know that there's some shit that's going on that, you know, that's harmful. Like, I ain't gonna try to spend that shit no kind of way. I know it's shit that's harmful going on. But I also know that the people who speak on our community, especially on this app, it's like, man, I'm hearing the things that y'all saying, and I'm like, man, it's clear that y'all aren't there. Like, it's clear y'all aren't moving through there. Because if I start making some gross assumptions about, like, let's quote unquote the white suburbs or whatnot that I don't live in, I don't have an experience out there. I don't know what y'all be doing. I don't care to know what y'all be doing because I don't.
Well, some people go to Kenny Rogers Chicken. Some people go to Chick-fil-A. What's the difference? Chicken's chicken.
So it's like, it's just these weird conversations. I will say this though, and I'm gonna land.
Cane's chicken is Cane's chicken.
I'm gonna land on this. Clubhouse has made me realize that black Americans and white Americans got way more in common than we realize. We're all narrow-minded as Americans. Like, in our worldview, we tend to think that our world is the only thing that matters because we've all been fed a, idea of American exceptionalism. So it is what it is. But, like, we not that much different. I do think that if I have an issue with white people, it's more so, like, not realizing.
Don't forget, Colin Powell was black and he did 9/11.
Why y'all even got him on the stage?
Do me a solid, bro. Just chill out for a
I'm just saying, Colin Powell was black and he did 9/11.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying, it's like, I feel like a certain group of white people vote against their own interests. Like, I've seen it happen right now in our state. Where you had the rural white Republicans who were staunchly against school choice because they knew that shit is going to hurt them, probably even more than the inner city schools. And they still fight for the shit. Like, things like that, man, it's like, look, I get it. Like, I guess you guys so caught up in owning the libtards and all that shit. But, man, some of this stuff is just practical American shit. It ain't got nothing to do with right and left. And it's like, I feel sometimes that white Americans are too loyal to that Republican Party. And I'm going to land on that.
Running off at the mouth. The Republican Party was founded to end slavery. The Republican Party pushed through the Civil Rights Act. That was the Republicans. It was the Democrat who brought in.
That's actually.
What do you call it? Jim Crow. Not only segregation, right? But in our lifetime, it was the Democrats who pushed.
Let me ask you this, Dominic. Since the Civil Rights Act in 1965, and I'm sure y'all gonna say, oh, the opportunity zones. What actual legislation has the modern Republican Party actually presented to where you think the masses of black people would have voted for them? Like, make no mistakes about it. If y'all were around us and y'all knew us, This is how I know that y'all don't be around niggas. No. Give me 1 second, I'ma land.
N-words.
This is how I know y'all don't be around niggas. Cause y'all say dumb shit. We would vote for anybody. We would vote for anybody that represented our interests, which is why you saw a lot more people ride for Trump this time, because they felt like he was actually representing their interests. But y'all don't get that.
Let me answer your question. The Democrats opened up the border and just tried to replace black people with illegal immigrants. In your face. They just tried to do it. In your face. They wouldn't go down to help the people in North Carolina, the people in Tennessee who got wiped out by a natural disaster. But they'll go down to El Salvador and try to get gangbangers brought back to your community. So miss me with that nonsense. I'm voting Republican for life.
Yeah, I'm really upset about it. I feel hoodwinked and bamboozled, even though I wasn't there in the 60s, but I realized that that's when they ushered a bunch of black folks over to the Blue Party. That's unfortunate.
That's not even true. The black switch to the Democratic Party actually came after World War II, with FDR and the fucking New Deal.
Well, let me ask you something.
That's what I'm saying, man. Read a book.
Let me ask you something, brother. You read a book. My great-grandfather got the GI Bill. He was a Republican, and my great-grandmother informed our family that black folks were known to be conservative and known to be Republican from the jump. So let me ask you something. You mentioned
the switch started in World War II. It started with Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Okay, well, that's fair enough.
Edmonds interrupting you when you're interrupting the lady. Get America.
Well, that's fair enough that that's probably when it first started, but it really, switched over in the mid-60s, to be fair. So I can agree with that. But you mentioned yourself about what did the Republican Party have to offer black folks? What were they doing for black folks? And my great-grandparents told me that was what the problem was. You're just supposed to contribute to your society. You're not supposed to ask what your country could do for you. You're supposed to ask what you can do for them. So it's a mentality that changed. Yes, ma'am, it's a mentality that changed. And I hope that my demographic and my generation can help change it back.
One of the most interesting geographical places on Earth is the Dead Sea. Located in the Jordan Valley.
Let's be clear about something. Just because we aren't.
Rob,
I just had two questions. One is, you mentioned that school choice, we were voting against our own benefit, or I forget how you phrase it. Why? Why do you think school choice is a negative for us white people? And secondly, I'm just thinking out loud here, but historically, weren't black people kind of anti-federal government? Like, weren't they questioning, they didn't trust the federal government? So why do they keep voting for this big government party? Why wouldn't they want more local power?
All right, so I guess I answer the one I just heard last. Well, first, excuse me, the school choice thing, I'm talking about rural white Americans, why that's harmful to the rural communities is because it's a fact that this money is going to be coming out of school budgets. So if it's being pulled from this money that's in the state that allocates it across the districts, that means certain districts are going to lose money. This also says that, and I'm speaking, hold on, just listen, in the state of Texas, they're only going to be allowed up to $10,000 for their actual voucher. Mm-hmm. Most private schools are far more than $10,000. So who is this going to benefit more? This is probably going to benefit people who have money already and probably just need that extra boost. You have to think about the travel. I don't know if you've ever been through Texas. This is a big ass state. I'm in Houston. My family from Northeast Texas. That's a 5.5-hour drive just to get up and see my family in Northeast Texas. So that's number one on that. Second thing, what did you just refresh my memory?
Can I say something, Holly?
Sure.
To that? I just want to say, so you've only highlighted one benefit of that, but wouldn't it also be considered a benefit that the community who is, I don't want to say at the lower spectrum of this, but the community who's not receiving most of the funds, like, wouldn't that be like an essential highlight? Like, oh wow, look, we have so many kids in this district who actually are at a deficit of this amount in order to make this equal to the other districts that are receiving these funds. Like, you get a benefit on knowing how far you got to catch up. So that means people within that community, that district, they need to probably do a little bit more, maybe show a little bit more initiative, maybe do some things like philanthropy and volunteering and showing up for the community, right?
Hey, do you know how schools are funded? Do you know how schools are funded?
Yeah, that's what you're not.
Do you know how schools are funded?
Guys, we have 5 people talking at the same time.
I'm giving it back to Holly because I did take the mic.
So I was just trying to explain that what he was talking about when you have sending districts, and you have let's say you have a regional high school, and you live in a town that is a smaller town that does not have a high school. So now you're paying per student to send your community's students to that regional high school, and you have to tax. You have it comes out of your property taxes. I mean, it matters what state you're in as to how the taxing system is, but it can be incredibly burdensome on an area that doesn't have the high school, that has no choice but to send to the regional. And if that regional is in an area that they decided, and this example I'm going to give happened in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I don't know if any of you have ever been there or know where that is, but
I've been there.
Okay, so Atlantic City built they built a massive high school, an urban high school in Atlantic City, long time ago for like over $100 million, like an absurd amount of money, and all the down beach districts that might have had, some had elementary schools, some might have had middle school, some didn't, had no choice. That was their regional high school. So per student, they were being charged, like back then, and again, I'm talking, let's say 30 years ago, I forget when the school got built, like $15,000 a kid, something like that. It was an astronomical number, and they're stuck. So the school choice would give that amount of money to kids in their district that could choose to go to other schools, and they don't have to pay for those, each child going to the regional high school that they don't want to go to. That it gave that opportunity for them to go to Catholic school, which is a big regional Catholic school in the area. I mean, it just gave other choices. And I'm trying to illustrate, like, you're getting hit in your property taxes. That's where you're paying for.
I want to clear something up. Sorry, Rob.
What I just said?
It does. Rob, I want to clear something up too. With the educational school, the educational savings account, ESAs, that's how all these school choice bills are being written now with the ESA model. All right, everyone that I've seen, when they take the money from, when the money falls to a child, not 100% of that money that goes to that school falls to that child. It's actually something like 40%, because there's 2 different areas that the money comes from. One is, I guess, the real estate taxes, but the other, I think, comes from, I don't know, the state and the federal. I get it all confused. There's 2 different areas, right? And so what I'm saying to you is, actually, it would be a benefit to the poor whites, because that's what you were referring to, in the country, in the rural areas, because you'd actually have, the public school would now have more money per capita. Because, again, not 100% is following the child, it's like 40%. Okay, so that's number one. So they would actually have more money per capita, per head. Now, number 2, $10,000 a year for a rural private school, that sounds really high. I'm actually surprised you didn't say that. I live in rural Georgia, and my kids go to a private school, and it is reasonably priced private school, but still, like, I think I have 2 boys there, and I pay $1,200 a month for 2 of them. So $10,000 a year for one kid in a rural private school, that sounds quite high.
necessarily true. There actually aren't that many. There aren't a lot of private schools in rural Texas. And that's from east, south, west, north, around.
They're
The bulk of
Catholic
the private
schools?
schools.
Do you have Catholic? You must have Catholic schools, no?
You gotta drive.
No, we do have Catholic schools. We do have Catholic schools, but I'll include, let's include Catholic schools with private schools, just for the sake of this conversation. The bulk of them are going to be, the bulk of them are in Houston, Dallas, and Austin.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but would actual black parents feel comfortable with sending their children to Catholic schools or these private schools, private institutions?
Yes.
They have.
Yes,
no,
and yes.
It happens.
And even if $10,000 wasn't enough to cover, Rob, who are you to say to, the family, the Johnson family, oh, sorry, we're not gonna pass this bill because $10,000 really isn't enough to cover. So try again next time. It only benefits the. I mean, who are you to say to the family that we're gonna bridge the gap?
In this bill, again, let's say this: in this bill, is nothing that says that these private schools have to take you. That's number one.
True.
Number two, in the assertion you say, who am I to say? And I'll say, who are you to tell me that you have the right to tell us where our tax dollars go? We don't do that in any other thing. We don't get to dictate. I don't get to dictate the percentage of my tax dollars that goes to the fucking military. I don't want my tax dollars paying for drones killing people across the motherfucking world. But I don't have a say so in that. So who are you to say? No. I'm not making the argument for school choice. I'm not making the choice. Hey, brother, yeah, I vote very much.
So you have a voice.
I vote very much.
You have a voice if you vote.
No, check it out. It's moving the goalpost again, but that's okay.
Hey, brother, you sound like you on some type of drug or something, man. You sound stupid. So, let me be clear. I'm not even talking to you.
Let's not do that.
I'm not even talking to you.
But let's stay on the topic and have that conversation, because she's absolutely right. If you vote, then you have a voice. So you literally said that you don't have a voice, like you don't get to have that sort of.
Who said I don't have a voice? Who said? When did I say that?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm misunderstanding then. Let me close my mic.
Are we all misunderstanding? I could have sworn you just.
You ain't gonna never hear me say no shit.
Wait a second. Rob, let me ask you, what part of Houston you in? I have a place in the Woodlands.
I'm in Southwest Houston.
Okay. And you're saying the part of Southwest Houston you're in doesn't have many choices for private schools? I'm trying to get clarity.
Excuse me?
Can you hear me?
This isn't like the school complaint hotline. I mean, are there bigger issues you want to talk about?
This is what y'all want to continue. I couldn't hear what you said, JB.
Sounds like the school complaint hotline.
Okay, because Houston is one of the largest cities in America. I have a place down in Houston. And I'm curious about what he's trying to say, because I have family that goes to school down there, and the school system down there I think is fantastic. But what do I?
Well, it depends on like if your family in the Woodlands, they not gonna have no concerns. You just keep it a bean with you. Like it's certain areas in HISD that you're not gonna have a concern like depending on where you at, because the actual property taxes are higher in that area. They have money coming in those areas that can offset any funding issues maybe that come from the state or the federal government. So make no mistake about it, it's a lot of people that are very happy with our school system and who have a big problem with this. And it's from a lot of districts like the Woodlands, Cy-Fair, Katy, things like that, because we already have a form of school choice. It's not a voucher system, but I can take my son to any school I want to, provided I can get him there. I can take my daughters to any school I want to in any district, provided I can get them there.
But they have school buses. So it's not like
school choice is already in existence. It's the voucher system that people are really at debate about. In our city, in Dallas, Austin, it's been very much. People are staunchly against school voucher system. It was a crazy thing in the Texas legislature last year, where the blue Republican, the blue Democrats from the cities was lock and step with the rural Republicans from North Texas, West Texas, East Texas, South Texas.
You know why that is?
They were like.
I'll tell you exactly why that is, Rob. It's because those Republicans, I would be willing to bet, the ones who voted no, they come from districts where they're
I'm reading the inbox here.
Angel, the same angels are the same angel.
I don't know. Yeah, MDC. That shit, you can see that shit from the highway. It's a federal building in Sunset Park.
You're kidding me?
All theists all recognize that Hitchens is one of the most eloquent,
He's funny. He's funny, but he knows.
Well-spoken
his philosophical.
Well-spoken advocates for reason.
Yeah. So, did you watch him and William Lane Craig have their discussion?
Yeah, and you know what? He threw William Lane Craig up, and I know none of you are going to agree with that, because William Lane Craig loses unless God shows up. Every theist loses unless God shows up at the end of it.
You just relax.
So anyway, that's anyway.
I wanted to
you guys want to shift the combo somewhere?
No, Johnny.
Make fun of Johnny. That's fine. I'll join in with you.
Can you just
trust me? Hey, Johnny's got a lot of hard bark on him. Johnny's an old man. Johnny's got
I like the hard bark. It's good.
Johnny has held dead people in his
deciduous
arms.
also.
Johnny does a lot of things.
Apologizing and saying that basically
Fair enough.
Isn't that weird?
Fair enough, Johnny.
Okay.
Johnny, I want you to meet somebody. I want you to meet somebody.
Yeah, let me meet somebody real quick.
Don't go nowhere now. Enoch, are you there, my brother? Enoch.
trying to, like you said, trying to appease their voter base.
Where's this going, Rob? How much longer are you gonna complain, Rob? What are you gonna do? Read a book to your kids tonight? What are you gonna do? You gonna run for office? What are you gonna do about it?
I'm gonna bring Snap to your trailer park. That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, maybe you should try to run for office and then spread the money around, or try to come up with some other type of solution. I don't understand. You guys are just like talking about nothing, complaining and shit, just like usual.
Well, you're on the same talking app with us complaining about it, man. So
No, I'm complaining about your complaining, and Rayabia apparently is a very good gangbanger shooter or some shit.
I got you.
Yeah, these some dirty whites, bro. These some dirty whites that talk about
Just judge a man by his words. That's it. You are your words.
It's a white man on drugs and alcohol, y'all.
No, dummy. I'm just saying you are your words. So if you talk like a piece of trash, generally your ass is a piece of trash.
This is why if he recording this for his YouTube, y'all gonna stream Rob Gillette music.
Yeah, I'll send you your royalties when YouTube starts cutting me a check.
Y'all stream some Rob Gillette music.
Your ass up, nigga.
If you in Houston, Texas, come check out Soul Fried Rice. If you recording me, come check out Soul Fried Rice in Houston, the best fried rice in the city. Stream Rob Gillette music. feel me? I do consent to being recorded as long as I'm letting you know that you need to go check me out too. And if you recording me, you know what I'm saying, and you down with this comedy dude, I ain't gonna even say that, man. I was about to tell you to do something you probably shouldn't do.
What's funny about this faggot?
Oh no, this how I'm operating moving forward. When I feel like somebody recording me on Clubhouse, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure they know that they can stream raw glad music on any platform. Wherever you listen to music, I'm there. And if you're in Houston, Texas, look up Soul Fried Rice, the best fried rice in the city. And yeah, that's what I'm with.
We're on recording. Are we getting paid?
Well, shit, I don't know. Somebody that comedy dude.
This full name Edmonds, comedy Republican moron. Right.
Comedy, are you giving us some cuts?
Yeah, I'm sending out royalty checks with some steamed fried rice and some, all the good toppings, cornbread, of course.
And I eat kosher, so can you make a nice platter from YouTube, but can you put a little bit of cash on top of
You
the platter?
Jewish? I didn't know you was Jewish, girl. I'll send you a kosher plate. Ribono shalom.
What kind of white is this? Angel, I live about 10 minutes from the Jewish community. So I can definitely make you some kosher fried rice. I acquiesce to whatever you need. Oh, he ain't on the stage no more, so he ain't recording. I'm gonna stop promoting my
Don't throw my
business.
money back to the goo. Don't do that.
No, he's recording. He just likes to get dropped up and down because that's a stick on this thing. You got nothing better to do.
Make sure.
Yeah, it's a big waste of time. Might as well have a little fun.
At least a stack. Thank you. My birthday's today.
I didn't know you was Jewish, girl. Geh kachenlichtig in dein Eugen. Foster.
Wait, what kind of white is this?
One trying to speak Yiddish.
Guys, let me just say this. Big Rex, he does not represent the white community. Just want to say that.
What kind of white is he?
I don't believe in the white community, and I don't believe in the black community. I believe in the American community.
Again, JB, I know he's an outcast, but I need to know what type of white this is. This is just for research purposes.
Is this no person?
I don't like to be compared to orange chicken. That's the first thing you gotta understand.
What type of white are you? Is this an Appalachian white?
No, man, West Virginia is the worst state in the whole country.
What type of white are you?
I think he's from West Virginia, guys.
Because he's definitely not a method. Man, is that Kalima?
No, he's from Chicago.
Yeah, that's me.
Man, what the fuck? What you doing in this space, man? Stay out of these rooms, man. It's dangerous. Kalima's a sweet girl. Don't nobody disrespect Kalima. This is my real life. Like, this damn near my best friend, man. I kill you behind her.
Let's be honest, blacks have taken over the education department, and they're all living on a pension.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Actually, you know what? I want to share with you, Rob, an interesting thing. In Georgia, over the school choice bill that we couldn't get passed, we actually had a historic thing happen. Our first black Republican state senator, she switched parties. What is her name again? Keisha may not know. She switched parties over this very issue. This was the main issue because she was being bullied so much by her own party and she wasn't wanting to toe their line. But she fucking switched parties, dude.
Fight!
Georgia.
Shout out Keisha.
What's your name?
Holly. I want to give you a record. Holly, I want to give you a recommendation. There's a song on Lil Wayne's first album, A Block Is Hot. It's actually called Keisha. You should check it out.
No! Keisha, is it me? Is that
No. You have to look up a bitch named Keisha, a real dick, please.
Oh.
That's not. Expecting me to eat her. That's not what I'm talking about. He's Lil Wayne when he couldn't cuss.
What's up with Kanye sucking dicks and flying swastikas?
Where's that at again, Holly? Fulton County in Georgia. I think she's our first black. Yeah, she's our first black Republican woman. Okay, so maybe we've had. All right, so she's the first black Republican woman. Anyway,
Is that America talking?
Took a lot of balls. No, she was a Georgia state representative.
First black, well, we got basically 8 black mayors in the state of Indiana, and one of them is a Republican in Marion County.
Wow.
Yeah, she's 40. Marion County, Indianapolis. Is Marion County, Indianapolis?
Town, yes.
Wasn't she the one that was in the bikini or something like that, trying to get votes, something like that?
Misha? I don't think so.
Allahu Akbar! I boomed the fucking room! I boomed that motherfucker! I boomed that motherfucker!
It's just a fact. The numbers.
All right. So, but you're right. So now, we laid that out in the long term, right? Determinism. What that does is that rules out the idea of non-influence, like the idea that you're above the influence of external factors. That's ruled out. Now, in the short term, that's why I brought up that other paper before, because you're able to use so for AI, for example, they had about over 350 regions that they had skins connected to, and they were using and they did this on a wide amount of people. Like, it was not like a small sample size, and I'm gonna try to pull this out. I gotta look it up, but from what I remember, they were accurately predicting way above chance the patterns of the brain wave. It was short input sequences, and they were able to, I think it was around like 30 seconds. So they were able to capture the decisions that were being made based off of 30 seconds of recorded brain data.
I was go ahead. I was going to say, just put a link. I couldn't find the paper, but I did link a Scientific American article published last month where they were arguing that those studies weren't really conclusive because they were dealing with minor, insignificant decisions like hitting a button versus like really consequential, deeply thought out decisions people typically think of with free will.
I brought up so people use that inconsequential word, and I'll look at the rebuttal just because I don't want to tear down a rebuttal I haven't read yet. I just want to be fair, but people use that inconsequential word, or inconclusive word, and the inconclusive in science is kind of like they use this for every single disagreeable outcome. So if somebody has some personal stake in fucking free will and they really want it to be true, and they also have contributed to peer-reviewed studies before, all they have to do is say, "Oh, this is inconclusive." But the fact of the matter is, technically everything is inconclusive because everything can be proven wrong, or not even proven wrong, but everything can be challenged, right? But we have to just go by what we're dealing with. Right. What we're dealing with, I mean, we're saying the decisions are minor, right? But these minor decisions, I mean, okay, these minor decisions, that's almost like saying like which lane that you're driving on in your car is minor. Well, it is until there's another vehicle right next to it. And you can say, well, it's not the same, it's not a life or death situation. But picking up your hand and putting a button is something that you absolutely, like, if you don't have free will over that, I just can't, if you don't have free will over that, and you don't have free will over the decisions that have years of influence behind them, then what do you have free will over?
I'm not sure that's true, though, because if you look at, like, in a court of law, right, there's a difference between murder and manslaughter, right? If you accidentally kill someone because you didn't hit a break in time or something, like, you're still responsible for that, but that's much less malicious than plotting to drive someone and run them over, right, in a way that's much more sinister, right? And we would say that person in the second scenario is doing something much worse and is much more egregious than the first because the intent is what matters.
So I like that you said that, right? Because what that explains is the amalgamate of so you basically can see how they decide what makes a person a danger to society. It's not necessarily the, miscalculations or, mistakes that they make in the very short term, or in the moment, but it's also what that person's long-term influences are. Because essentially, when you tell someone, "Hey, you're a danger to society, you can't be out. We got to put you in jail for 30 years." What you're telling them is that, okay, the course of your life over the long term and the compound effects and the chain reactions that come from an early age, plus your ability to do this in the short term, results in an unsafe environment for other human beings. And so that's why I would say, it makes sense that they go about it that way, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, it's because of a difference in sort of free will.
That's exactly
it doesn't
how
really like
most.
say that there's more will than others. You know what I mean?
Well, no, that's the majority. I mean, from last time I checked field papers, the majority position on free will was compatibilism by a pretty strong amount.
Yeah, but what do you know?
Second, libertarianism was third. What was that?
Yeah, but what do you know?
Yeah, well, I'm just citing what other people are saying.
Sure, buddy, sure.
Yeah, with the majority of some experts.
Yeah.
So what are you saying to that? Most, I mean, they're not determinists. Not in this sense.
Well, compatibilists are determinists, but they don't agree that it does. But they still think that you can have responsibility in an equal sense, so that they would reject.
What else are they going to say when you think about it?
They would say that you still have responsibility even though you're determined.
No, I mean that's my point. What else are they going to say? I kind of feel the same way. Even if you don't, anybody who doesn't believe in free will, you can not believe in free will, and if you decide that therefore nobody should be held accountable to anything, then it goes against evolution. Go ahead. What's that?
A compatibilist is just someone who believes that free will is compatible with determinism, which seems to be something that you're excluding.
Well, the thing is, right, free will being compatible to determinism, you have to try to make those puzzle pieces fit.
And they just say,
well, yeah, but still, because people like to use the whole "but yeah" argument, where they start saying "but yeah," and then they don't necessarily explain how the, So if you want to go into
well, the point is though,
be held accountable to decisions that you don't have control over, then
yeah, because the whole point. I mean, do you know about Frankfurt cases, for example? Those are typically the most common things given in the literature, where you can have thought experiments about situations where the person's completely determined to do something, and yet we would still say they obviously seemed like they were responsible in a significant way, right? Because the two intuitions we have are one that does seem like everything has a cause, and it's weird to think that we're different than that. But it also seems like we have responsibility in a very unique way, right? We don't get mad at tornadoes or earthquakes in the same way we do about get mad at serial killers, right? We sort of assume that there's a different sense of agency and responsibility than there is with just, this is how the laws of physics are acting, right? There's a much more human aspect to it. So it's the balance between those two facts of life, it seems to us, and that's sort of where you get the compromise.
To be quite honest with you, the getting mad, right? And I'm not trying to pick apart what you said, but I actually do think there's a interesting thing to look at, the concept of anger even, or punishment responses. These are utilities of evolution. So we have basically all of our behavior, or most of it, I'll say. I'll give outliers. I don't really want to just be too. I don't want to use too many absolutes, but what you see in conventional human behavior is a method of information trying to continue to have itself carry on into the next generation. That's what life forms do.
That's all
in general, including right, and so when you get to the level of advanced life, or if you will, quote unquote, the complex life form that we are, as well as most mammals and whatnot, you're gonna see these responses be because if there is not that response that is, brought forth by and large, then you're gonna have the human species somehow wipe itself out, or look the other way for dysgenic behaviors, and that's what's brought us here. And so when you also look at that introduces really the anthropology of humanity. It's like the evolutionary psychology, and look at it from an anthropological standpoint, and you see that even our behaviors and our the decisions and the things that we consider to be logical always lead back to to information carrying example.
Well, it's fine, but there's no reason why it shouldn't, right? I contend that it doesn't follow at all from that therefore they're not reliable or not truth tracking. You could do the exact same thing.
I'm not saying that. Go ahead.
Right. So that's why I'm not sure why this is relevant. I could look at a tree and say the reason that I see a tree is because I have light receptors, and these light receptors are beneficial evolutionarily because I can survive my environment better and produce more generations, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
But in the same way, you could do that with anger or any emotion. That's true. Humans do have higher emotional intelligence because it's good for survival. But it also tells us all about the world. And just like I think you can look at a tree and see it from the light receptors, you can also use your emotions and feelings, generally speaking, your intuitions, to track other truths about the world. So I don't see why they're not any more significant.
But that's the point, right? That's the point, is that there is in terms of information carrying itself on, there's no utility for, say, having the same accountability response to a natural disaster as opposed to, say, a person, because we know that there's no possible method of holding a natural disaster accountable other than, you know, holding ourselves accountable to that natural disaster. Whereas when you hold a person accountable, you make the rest of humanity more likely to carry on its information, and that's why we have that behavior in the first place.
Yeah, sure. Again, I don't see why that follows. What that has to do with anything you
Well,
explained.
but the initial conversation was about, you know, even just like God as it relates to free will and the idea of a God having you know, holding its creations accountable to the decisions that it makes in a like unironic way. It's just not. That's not the case. It's just not. You know what I mean? We're better off like not even. And then maybe I'll tap about this. I'll put it. You know, I'll wrap this up with this, right? That leads into anti-theism because at some point, you know, I think we all have a right to maybe decide, hey, you know, have we? Okay, I'll put it like this: have we collectively outgrown the utility of this convention? And I would say, yeah. I would say, you know, when it comes to religion and God, I mean, we have.
Oh, you don't think that religion? You don't think that religion is evolutionarily advantageous, and that's why it's been preserved for so long?
It was, but we are. I'd say, like, for example, sometimes chimeras emerge. Sometimes mutations emerge that become the overall consensus. It's like, okay, the first human being to, you know,
what's your name?
Develop, or you know, the first Homo sapien to develop, you know,
Thanks for the
the
question.
frontal lobe or whatever, or to get their hippocampus to the way the modern humans is now. You know, that's like an anomaly. The early ones might be like, well, shit, why do you even need that? Why do you have that?
Don't rely.
But eventually, it's because that's the way things need to go forward. And I consider myself to be, you know, as well as any other anti-theist, kind of like a human being who, based off of observation and this cultural, you know, influence and whatnot, I see this concept and construct of religion and see what humanity can be without it, and live a life of myself without it, and see what, you know, we can be overall. I'm just pushing it in that direction. I'm not necessarily a big.
I don't think I'm not aware of any proven example of like a mostly. I mean, there are irreligious cultures, but even then they still like have belief in the supernatural. Like you go in Scandinavia, for example, or China, or like Thailand, right? There's really not any major culture I'm aware of that's lasted where they sort of rejected complete belief in the supernatural. They rejected an afterlife, all that stuff. Because I think that does have serious consequences. We're the only organisms that have this high concept of our own mortality. And I think that's so bad for our mental health and so depressing that that's why we hold on to beliefs in heaven. And I would say that someone who does believe in heaven, by the way. But my point is, I don't think that we're evolved enough to where we could survive species longer without basically just becoming so depressed and not doing anything.
I could definitely get. I feel like I could. I've done it before where I've been able to make people pretty much feel pretty happy that there is no God or a heaven or an afterlife.
You can say that anecdotally. I'm just saying empirically that's not true on a broad scale. You might say that anecdotally, but I don't think that's.
Caleb, can I ask you something really quick?
I mean, that's kind of your opinion, though. I respect it, though. Look, I
my opinion. I can't. I just cited like every culture.
No, I mean, your opinion is that humanity can't, you know.
I'm saying it's not been demonstrated on a wide scale that they can. I mean, it's theoretically possible. Okay. But I don't think it's plausible right now.
Yeah. And I just
that plausible part is, I'd say, you know, well, yeah, go ahead.
Well, Enoch, you remember you hit free will, and I appreciate the discussion, brother, but you hit free will. I don't think you demonstrated. You're citing studies, which I brought up the button thing before. You said, well, no, there's much more. Like AI is doing stuff, and they've determined, you know, this is conclusive. I'm like, well, it's like it's been debunked, quote unquote, right, as you put it. I don't think you've shown that at all, and I don't think any of these studies say that. So there's work being done currently on free will, and it is not something that has been settled. There's no consensus on this, and to take that position is kind of, I think that's pretty wild to say that it's been definitively ruled out. And then beyond that doesn't show that God doesn't exist. You could have a deterministic or theological deterministic kind of God, which I'm heavily opposed to. I don't think that is the God that we serve. I don't think that's the God that's in existence by any means, but that's fine. You still could
And then further, this religious thing, I mean, I agree with all the points that Caleb's saying, but beyond that, the intrinsic, not extrinsic, but intrinsic religiosity has certainly yielded good results. You can look at, and there's just all these markers that they have looked at. And people have done a lot of work, but some meta-analysis will show that intrinsic religiosity is the case. It is good for societies, broadly speaking. It is good for society. So I'm just kind of
say that libertarian is bullshit.
No, why would I say that? I just said that you have. I think libertarian free will is straightforwardly true. So like,
Wow, that's two of your points.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to. Well, hold on, Abe, just real quick. I want you to, but I just want to hear what Enoch is trying to say about libertarian free will. Why he said it's been quote debunked unquote.
Well, okay. Well, the thing is, right? If you want to get like full-blown scientific method about it, then sure, right? Technically, nothing's been debunked. But I mean, you really haven't presented anything that even supports free will other than, hey, I'm talking right now because I chose to, which is what everybody does. But when I tell you that, hey, that decision, that impulse has been generated in your brain, before you've actually experienced that impulse yourself, then I'm not sure, I'm not really sure what else you want to see other than a peer-reviewed scientific paper that has everybody agreeing without question that it's that free will doesn't exist. I mean, then that doesn't exist.
Hold on, Abe.
And you choose me as your Pokeball.
Hold on, real quick, Abe. Everybody agreeing without question that free will doesn't exist? Are you kidding me, my friend? That's a crazy claim.
No. I'm saying that. Is that what you're looking for? I mean, what exactly are you looking for in terms of?
I'm just saying, like, no. What I'm saying is if you get a broad consensus that free will is impossible, that it's been debunked. Okay, cool. Let's talk about that. But that's not what you have. You have different studies showing different things where they can map out the brain and say, okay, your decision looks like it could be, there's some kind of pattern in the brain.
It looks like this was the pattern, and this is
Yeah.
how many
So
seconds
what does quantum mechanics play
you
this, by the way? Because on the quantum level, you really can't account for like perturbations and different fluctuations that you wouldn't be able to measure in an MRI that could be happening, right? So like I think pure determinism on the physical level is pretty much widely rejected now in
Yeah,
physics.
but you have to again, the burden of proof is now on that.
It's unlikely that there's quantum effects that affect the indeterminacy or determinacy of the brain. The brain's too wet and macroscopic of an environment. But that's very much so besides the point. If Abe wants to ask Andrew a question, or if you guys want to keep going, I'll shut up. But I do want to ask Caleb a question at some point.
Yeah, thank you.
Go and then you can go, and then I'll go after Melith or Mel. You after.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Andrew, it's just two things because you've been in the room for a while. We got sidetracked when you were talking to who was it? Johnny.
I was gonna guess me.
Yeah, thank you, Johnny. So it was just that Johnny was just making a very simple point, right? He was just saying that you're making a claim that God exists. You have the burden of proof. And then you kind of moved the conversation.
Yeah, it wasn't what he's saying respectfully. What he's saying is
I'm just saying what.
No, he had a challenge for all believers, people he hadn't even met yet. So it doesn't have to do with their claim. They can believe, but he doesn't have to know that. The challenge is if you believe.
You should be able to demonstrate it.
Demonstrate to God. That doesn't follow.
No, if you know.
But the point is this. Well, here's the point.
But you should acknowledge it. But you should acknowledge it doesn't follow.
It does follow.
And I acknowledge that you can know something without being able to demonstrate it to someone else. But the difference is if you can't demonstrate it to someone else, you have to answer a very specific question, which is how did you come upon that knowledge? And the analogy you gave when you saw your grandmother dying on the bed, it's pretty obvious how you came upon that knowledge. You can point to that experience, right? Hold on, Andrew, listen, we have a room full of people here. And if I asked you, how do you know God exists, you're just going to say, God revealed it to me.
Yeah. I don't have to know the mechanism by which God does that. That's very weird.
But here's the thing. Don't you think it's a little odd? You're a human being just like me. You were born on this planet just like me. Why would God choose you and not choose me?
I can speculate. There's a whole bunch of the Bible has a lot to say about it. I do believe the Bible is true. But I'll tell you that I can see a ton of reasons. God may not want to reveal himself to you because you're not going to be an authentic respondent. You may just mock and deride God.
But don't you see how these are all ad hoc? These are all post hoc explanations.
These are not ad hoc because I didn't create them. They're biblical. And now
So the Bible is ad hoc.
No, the Bible's not ad hoc.
Of course it is.
Ad hoc is just creating something like to apply to the situation at the time. I'm not doing that.
That's what it's doing. When somebody believes in a God, they claim God revealed it to them. But when someone doesn't believe in a God, they say, "Oh, there must be a reason why you don't believe." Not maybe there's no God.
But Abe, it's very simple. If God exists, obviously, His rhyme and reason is not mine. I don't have will, or I can't control God.
But look what you're doing, though. I understand you can't control God, but in this whole conversation, you're using God as a bulletproof shield to shield yourself from your epistemological duties.
Not at all. Look, if God
That's what it looks like.
If God exists, it's just real simple. It's just like you guys should be able to walk through this. It should be very easy. If God exists, He can reveal Himself to you. You know He exists, and you not be able to show anybody anything.
Okay, but then in that case, then you can't expect anyone to take you seriously, even if you're right.
To me, come with Apollo in bridal dress, shepherdess and pythoness. Come with Artemis, silken shop, and wash thy white thigh, beautiful God, in the moon of the woods, on the marble mount, the dimpled door of the amber font. Dip the purple of passion prayer in the crimson shrine, the scarlet snare, the soul that startled in the eyes of blue to watch thy wantonness weeping through the tangled grove, the gnarled bole of the living tree that is spirit and soul and body and brain. Come over the sea, your pan, devil or God, to me, my man, my man. Come with trumpets sounding shrill over the hill. Come with drums low muttering from the over. What's that, my name? Welcome to Hood.
Tell me that you have not received. Tell me that you.
This is no ordinary fish. It's a real dinosaur fish. Its skin is so tough that you can think of it as level 3 bulletproof armor. Even the razor-sharp teeth of piranhas can't tear through it, and sometimes even crocodiles fail against it. In fact, you'd need a hammer just to cut through its skin. But the most terrifying thing is the way it hunts. The moment it spots its prey, it sucks it in with lightning speed. And then, how the prey's blood flows out through its gills, you can see it for yourself in the video. So don't forget to like and subscribe after watching.
Over the sea, to me. Come with Apollo in bridal dress, shepherdess and pythoness. Come with Artemis, silken shod. Africans, is it because you're black? Are you oppressed? And poor poverty.
So you're young, not that much.
That's just the first go. Well, the thing is,
Nobody in the realm of I want to respect that hierarchy.
Light skin.
You and you're like, no. You say, why are you rushing?
That's a good one too.
Welcome back, Dr. Sasha, to another episode of Low IQ Dumb People that talk about nothing and waste all the time on Monday Night Live. Hello?
Whatever he wants to be about.
Look at my PTR. Read the paper on my PTR.
I think that's Morty from Rick and Morty.
Oh no!
Big love, big love, big love, big love, big love, big love.
Okay, let me ground the room for a second. So wait, you asked. Honey had left. Shut the fuck up. You know what? Let me drop him real quick to the good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No. Okay, well then go on mute then. Like I can fuck with I can fuck with you, but damn, just chill for a second. So me and Honey were talking before she left. We were talking about The Simpsons. Remember, Honey, I was telling you about how she had that petri dish experiment?
Yes.
Okay, so now Captain is familiar with Rick and Morty. So you're familiar with the episodes, right? You watch it, Captain?
Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah, okay, me too. So remember the episode when no, well, I'm giving you a reference. You'll recognize it if you do, if you don't do it. When Rick and Morty, they had a battery that Rick had invented for civilization, right? No, I'm lying. Rick Sanchez had a battery for his spaceship. No, Rick Sanchez had a battery that he needed for his spaceship, right? But so he created like a civilization that he enslaved them to just work and live life just to power his battery, like as a charge. Like, it was funny. But he was their god, right? And so whatever he said, they would follow his doctrine and whatever. And it was similar to what The Simpsons did with Lisa's Halloween episode, where she was the petri dish's god, remember? And then the civilization had evolved so fast that they created like some spaceships to go attack Bart, because Bart was the devil to them, because he was always attacking Lisa because he was always picking on her. So the civilization in the petri dish decided that was the devil and that they were going to attack him because he keeps attacking their god. And so that's what I was trying to explain to you guys, that how do we know we're not sitting in a petri dish? Or like, what was your analogy, Honey?
That's awesome.
She's like,
yeah. You're on fire, wifey.
What do you mean?
Sorry, I was away from my phone in the whole other side of the house. I had to run back in here. So what I was saying is,
now you gotta fucking run, feel stick it to one place.
I was muted, man. I left my phone in the bedroom. And
you know what you need to have your people install? One of those fucking walking escalators. You know they have at the airport, so you ain't even gotta run. You can just chill out, like, bro, I'm on my way to the side, like, see your people like one of you, go to the airport now, bro. Let's hit the airport line,
give me a scooter. I'm gonna give me a scooter. I'm gonna be running over dogs and cats and shit.
Or get the house, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know how that's gonna work. It's gonna crash the shit. I think that walking escalator is not gonna work. Like.
Okay, so what I was saying is, with Elon Musk, where he keeps talking about going to Mars, right? So what if we are under a firmament and we can't get out of this place? We're locked in, first of all, and Mars is not actually a planet, but it's another continent that's hidden from us. Okay, so let me finish.
You know,
so what if?
Another option.
Wait a minute. Let me land. Let me land this.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean, honey? We could also just stop ruining this fucking planet.
Okay,
right.
so if there's not an actual, Mars, and Elon elects all these people to go into outer space, and then he tells them, okay, well, we're going to have to put you in stasis because it's a long travel, and we'll wake you up when you get there. Well, what if these people are being put under, and they're put in these little pods where they're being utilized for their electricity in their body to power the 15-minute cities, and then they're given virtual reality, so they think they're really living in real reality, but it's virtual, and they're being sucked. You know, we're
being psyched? I don't know.
You yourself become a Baghdad battery. You become a Baghdad battery.
Dead, man. That's the new episode of Black Mirror.
So this is why. No, this is why I tell every. Honey, I remember I said I think God is the sun. Remember I said that one day. This is why I think God is the sun, because we have this electric current that's the spark that lights our life, and that's why I believe God is still the sun is still God. Or
They're
God,
hiding the sun from us now too.
No, the sun is actually what's the commands for God? You know what I'm saying?
Shit. No, that's deep, sister. That's deep.
We don't know that though. It could be all speculation, or it could all be true. And we're in a really special place in our history, right? Because we are going through the shift, bro. And so reality is fiction, and fiction is reality. Like that's what fucking crazy ass.
Like Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks. You guys know Bill Hicks?
Truman Show, man.
I do, darling. I know exactly who Bill Hicks is. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. No, fuck that. Yeah, like that. I used to like good stuff. Like he's a genius.
Well, you know what?
You were good.
Christians,
you're not good.
But Christians always believe on the Bible, right? And I follow Jesus myself, okay? But listen. Well, wait a minute. Christians tell you that aliens are not in the Bible, that there aren't aliens in the Bible, but they don't even know their own book. Because the people of Enoch, who they said we were grasshoppers in their sight, those were the Anunnaki.
Motherfucking Anunnaki.
They're called defiling their own flesh.
He is declared. See, at the borders, the question was asked, when will they be opened back up? And he did not state when they would be opened back up.
I saw someone interviewed
Jonathan Biggs don't know shit. Nelson the Packet don't know shit.
and he was masked with gloves.
Trump 2025, Trump 2026.
He said that he feels really bad about what is going on, but they have to feed their children. So do you actually, hold any accountability for what's going on? He's like, yes. However, the Americans.
The node operators and the miners, they get to decide whether or not, they accept that code. And if they don't think it's good for Bitcoin, why would they ever accept that code? Right? So they would be like, okay, well, fuck off. We're just not going to take that code. And so that would be a split of the Bitcoin code, and then there'd be some shitcoin that the core devs want to support.
Let's go to green lobster. Something different about this lobster than the lobsters I've cooked in the past is that it's a bright green. That's because it's specific to New Zealand. It's clearly a spiny lobster. You can tell because it has spines all along its back. Anytime you're about to cook a lobster, you need to look for a little bump on its head. That's how you're going to make sure it doesn't feel the boiling water. Whenever you're cooking seafood, you want to make sure your water is saltier than the ocean. I just so happen to be almost out of salt, but you want to use a lot more than this. Anytime your lobster is too big for the pot, which I'm looking at it, and it just, it's way too big. You're going to want to take his knuckles off. And there's actually a lot of meat in the knuckles too, so this is perfect. They're really spiky, so I'm using a towel. Okay, great. Now he doesn't have a face. And now he should be able to fit in the boiling water, just like that, snug as a rug. Make sure you take any plastic off before boiling seafood. In go the knuckles as well. Depending on the size of the lobster is how long you let it boil. Because this one is like 4.5 pounds, I'm gonna give it 15 minits. I'm excited to see what color he turns. It is finished and it's turned a bright red. Beautiful color on it, look at that. Let's go to green lobster.
Today, if we want to use money, we have to depend on the government. Probably a fucking bank. You're gonna pay fees when you go take your own fucking money out of a fucking machine. You gotta get the bank money for that. And why? Because the bank told you your fucking money and then fucking 22% on the fucking credit card. Like, it's just fucking rapery. It's rapery that's unnecessary.
To me.
That's Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin's like, fuck you. You can't take my fucking money. You can't come and say, oh, the court said this, or that you owe this in taxes, let me come and garnish it. No, fuck you. You can't fucking touch my money. There's no third party. I can send $1 million to someone in fucking Russia tomorrow and handle.
Let's go hoisting the vacuum balloons now.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Britton, congratulations on the Nuggets. That was a pretty good finish.
Oh, dude, did you watch that? That was crazy.
Amazing.
I couldn't believe that.
Oh my god, I have to just...
Oh, he was a comedian. Carbon.
Hello.
What up, Carbon?
Hey, what's going on?
I'm chilling, debating whether I should get a piece of pizza. Pizza will save the world. Pizza, pizza pie. Just a little pizza will save the children.
What's going on, Richard? What's on your mind for this morning?
Should I get some pizza?
Besides pizza, of course.
Yo, my boy. As like an atheist trying to say atheism is true and that matters. But you're more than welcome to understand my position if you're confused.
Well, I am, I am confused. The part that confuses me is you seem to say, I'm trying to put two things together, right? So you seem to say earlier that the reason, Jimmy, we know your claims about God having revealed himself and unbelievers are, to quote Paul, suppressing the truth and unrighteousness and all that, blah, blah. The reason we know that that's not true is because atheists live perfectly functional lives. They can make sense of their everyday life. They don't need to refer to God. They don't appeal to him. They don't experience him or feel anything about him. They're doing perfectly well on their own. So, Jimmy, what you said is wrong, right? That's effectively what I take you to have said earlier. But now you're saying, or it seems like you're saying, that you're just an observer and you're not claiming that atheists can make sense of their lives, that they don't need God or that they don't experience God. And that confuses me because it seems to be...
No, not at all. What I'm trying to say, basically, as the observer, I'm trying to show you that two sides of the coin can, in my perspective, be correct. So what I'm trying to say also is just based on your subjective opinions. Both of you people can live your life cordially fine, perfectly, without needing this or having this, without having to clash with each other to prove one of the others is right or not right. Like you said earlier, if atheism is true, why does this matter? As an observer, I look at you as both of y'all could be true, possibly, but y'all going
That's a moron.
One or the other, right or wrong, and I look at it as peasants because your God is an observer right now. Like he's watching us converse, have conversations, and he's not interfering. He's not stepping in. He's just watching.
I think he's doing more than watching, but let's put that aside for a second. I think the issue is like what it sounds like you're saying to me when you talk about like two sides of the coin is you're saying atheists can live life and make decent sense of it, and Christians can live life and make decent sense of it. Atheism doesn't make it impossible to live. Christianity doesn't make it impossible to live. So they're both just two sides of the same coin.
I look at the two sides of the same coin, arguing over the same context. Like comedians that say the game, this song never ends. But I look at it as two sides of the same coin, arguing over the same concept. Probably, and you would agree, before me and you came into existence, and probably after we died, this same concept of God. Does God exist? One side says yes, the other side says no, and then we have another one that just comes around the corner and said, I don't know. The agnostic. So, yeah, two sides of the same coin are arguing over the same thing. Both of y'all share something in common and don't.
Yeah, I don't see the thing we have in common, I guess I don't see... Seems to me that, like, in order for me to share your point of view, I would need to believe that atheists can live as rationally and morally and functionally as Christians do, but I don't think that that's actually true.
You don't think it's true because it's subjective. That's what you feel like. Just like when I was speaking to atheists, he said believers like yourself, God believers, Grovius might agree with this, that it's harmful for theologies, religion, preaching this in schools and bringing this into the laws, forcing people to be in.
And I hope every day, wake up every day and pray that he died.
Oh, you don't mean that.
Absolutely.
That's an evil thought to say.
I say it.
Don't you want to win based on winning the argument
No,
instead of his
I
death?
want.
About God, it's like you people don't understand two sides of the same coin. Like, why can't both of y'all just live in reality of what y'all believe to be true and just?
Want him to be gone out of our hair in our country. He is destroying the entire world. Do you know?
How did you feel when they
Do you know
mixed
that?
him with
Do
the
you
bullet?
know? Wait a minute. Do you know?
I think the issue for us is we don't agree on what's.
Oh my God! I was pissed.
I don't think Christianity is subjective. I don't think a lot of atheists think that atheism is subjective.
Some man lost.
And so,
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
is it objective to you but subjective to others? Like, your truth can be objective to you, of course, it's the absolute, but it's subjective to others because they don't look at it like.
I don't think that objectivity is relative to how people feel about it, right? I think that's the whole concept. The whole concept of objectivity is that it's something that's extramental and so not contingent on.
You get any type of an internet router, whether it's this,
or
this is another
the
small
specific belief set that they happen to have.
There.
Unless,
And some of
except
those
with
folks
the
said they
exception of, like,
experience
maybe
large productivity
maybe the
consequences.
objective state of affairs, like, guarantees, causes, or entails certain beliefs, right? But other than that, I don't know. I don't think that something can be objectively true for one person and not for others. That's what the word objectively means. There is that it's universal.
So if it's universal, why everybody is not just a believer in God?
We talked about that, remember? So I don't know how familiar you are with Christianity, but the Christian story is that, after God created the world, humanity fell, and we've been fallen ever since. We've been sinning, we kill people, we rape people, we pillage. Human beings have a pretty sordid history. We're not very good. And that's why the Christ of Christianity had to come down and die, because our Creator is a just God, and somebody has to pay the price for all of our sins.
Now he's gonna screw my whole
Jesus
life
did that and offers reconciliation.
regurgitates it, they just tangle themselves all up.
So to answer your question more specifically, right, like, the reason people do not affirm Christianity is because even though they know that it's true, like you do, they do not affirm out loud that it is, because that's not
This ass, and then I cut it. He's got my hook, dog. My hook back.
putting ourselves underneath this God figure. We may even have all these beliefs about how this is an old fairy tale religion, has these outdated ethics, says some pretty brutal things about cutting off the tip of the penis, it's weird, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so to some extent, it's like, yeah, psychologically, I've been a sinner too, I understand why somebody might think that. But the issue, ultimately, at the end of the day, is we have dad issues. We don't like God. We don't like the idea that we owe him. We don't want to pay him what he's due, and we have a predisposition to try to be the rulers of our own worlds.
And some of those folks said they experienced large productivity consequences as a result of their
and just live however we want.
Their subpar internet access.
God's commands.
The researchers then ran.
So that is why not everybody agrees. Christianity.
So, right, we all know it's true deep down. Just secretly lying to ourselves for fun, right? So, it must be exhausting to you being the only one brave enough to face the truth. Everyone is apparently too scared to admit.
It's not even that I'm brave, man. I wish that I could take credit, but I can't. It's not that I'm brave, it's that God is very merciful, and he invites everybody, you and me and Vincent and Royless and the comedian, I don't know who that is, but he invites everybody to believe in Jesus and to be saved from their sins. It's an open invitation to everybody. Very merciful God. I'm not some smart Plato figure who crawled out of his cave and saw the high forms of reality and came back down and told everybody.
We've heard from
I'm
President
a dummy.
Trump today,
I'm
marking
just
this.
another white trash dude from California who God was very merciful to, and I've seen, in virtue of his son, I've seen his grace. And I would hope that other people would experience that same love for them too. That's all there is to it. There's nothing to do with me being smart or
Wait,
seeing
do
the
you
light.
read minds, brother?
No, I can't read minds.
Oh, okay. So then you actually don't know what I believe, and you just assume. And calling assumption true, that's not faith. It's like projection.
See, all right. So this is what I was saying earlier. So there's like two things I want to say here. So one is, I'm not claiming to read your mind, but it's God's testimony in Scripture as to what everybody believes, right? So you got to take it up with Him. If you disagree with Paul in Romans 1, if you disagree with Job in Job 28, you disagree with David in Psalm 19, and if you disagree with them, that's
It's not up to me
why
to
I was
disagree
saying.
or agree. I'm just showing you it's just basically a subjective opinion and just making assumptions. You get what I mean? So this is like somebody else could just come with a different interpretation and just tell me something different, and then I'm just looking at them like, okay, you get what I mean? So it's just all based on how you feel at the end of the day. The song that never ends. Comedian. I agree.
Well, I think that if your point of view is somebody can always come along and interpret something differently, then they could just say the same thing about that claim itself.
Like what? Like what?
The claim that you're making, that the Bible can be interpreted differently.
Is that not true?
What I'm saying, no, I don't think it's true. But what I'm saying is,
you don't think it's whoa. Hold on. The way you interpret the Bible, somebody doesn't have an opposing view on it. You're a Calvinist, huh?
Yeah.
Now, I've then seen over like it's probably a Trinitarian. Like, yeah, I mean, it's a Christian room open right now. It's Sister Chariot. I'm not saying Calvinists worshippers of the devil. So two people do interpret it in two different ways.
Of course. Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's not.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
I was saying I don't believe that it's open to like an infinite number of interpretations. But you know, even if it were, the retort that I'm making is, there is no reason to dismiss the Bible as so open to different interpretations that it's merely subjective.
Why not?
Unless you were willing to say that everything you say is open to so many interpretations, that what I believe you mean is subjective.
Like what? Tell me what,
like what you're saying right
is subjective that you don't agree with.
No. That's not the point. The point is not whether what you're saying is subjective.
Well,
the point is
that's what you said.
there would be no reason to think that the Bible is subjective because it's so open to interpretation.
I never said that. I never said that at all. If I read a passage out the Bible right now, just a random passage out the Bible, it says what it says. I add no interpretation of it. I just read it. Let's do an example.
Let's do Romans 1 then.
You are barred from this court's counsel until you are once again presentable.
Yeah, let's go to Romans 1:18.
Romans 1:18. Yeah, read it, bro. You call.
Sure, 1 second. I'm pulling it up right now. All right. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who suppress the truth and unrighteousness, because that which is known about God is evident within them. For God made it evident to them. For since the creation of the world, His invisible attributes, both His eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood through what has been made, so that they are without excuse. For even though they knew God, they did not glorify Him as God or give thanks, but they became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish heart was darkened.
From this court's counsel until you are once again
That goes on. We can read as much as you want, but it seems very clear, right? Like, unless you think this is false or underdetermined or subjective, etc., this very clearly teaches that sinful men are the recipients of God's revelation.
Right there, subjective. Right there, what you just did. Right there, what you just did. Right there, what you just did, prove my point right there. Right there, what you just did right there, it's absolutely subjective. If I read a, like you just read the scripture plain out, move, leave it like that. It said what it said. Once you give me your interpretation of what you feel it to be saying, that's when it opens somebody to come with a different view to challenge you of what you're saying. At that given moment, it's irrelevant. Like what you're saying makes no point. I'm not saying I disagree or agree with it. I'm just showing you as the observer. Right there at that given moment, it becomes subjective. The Bible is saying what it's saying. Nobody disagrees with it. I'm saying once you add your interpretation of what you feel it's saying, it absolutely comes subjective.
I don't see why that's true. Because you've done the thing. Well, one reason I believe that is because you've done the very same thing with your own speech.
Like what? I haven't went to the Bible and said anything. I haven't did any of that. I'm not challenging your statement, but you're just giving me what you.
Let me clarify, right? You have said things, and then you followed up by clarifying what you said meant, right? Just the same way that I just quoted the Bible and then clarified what it meant.
Yeah, but as the observer,
clarifying what something.
I'm sorry.
So clarifying what something means is just subjective. Then much of what you have had to say in this conversation would have just been ruled out as subjective.
Exactly. As the observer, aka the third perspective, I'm acknowledging what I'm saying is subjective. You can agree or disagree and try to challenge me. All I'm going to do is keep stating what I feel. I'm not here. I know, and it's predicted you're going to say something to it. So I'm just stating my opinion, and I just keep speaking. You, on the other hand, when I tell you this and do that, it's a difference to it. I don't agree or disagree with anything you're saying. I'm understanding it, but I'm trying to show you and acknowledge that it's all subjective. It makes sense. And somebody's always going to challenge you, or somebody's always going to debate you, somebody's always going to get at it. I don't have to do any of it.
I don't know what to say to that, man. I think that if you're saying all of what you have to say is subjective, that seems to be
I'm just as the observer, as the AKA the third perspective. I'm just stating what I feel. If you disagree with it, okay, it's subjective. Cool. I know you are. That's inside of you. You get what I mean? You have to disagree with some things.
What if you just met somebody who everything I think is actually just subjectively true? Like, what would you say to that person?
You're gonna disagree and do what you do. You get what I mean? Once you relate in passages and
No. That's not what I'm saying. Say you meet me.
Talking. Oh, I thought this was free.
No, this is me. Say you meet a person like me, they just think something, you would think whatever they're thinking is just actually true. So they're always saying it's objectively true. Like, what would you say to that person?
You said if somebody saying what? I'm sorry.
Say they have the belief that everything they think is actually true in the world.
If everything they think is absolutely true in the world, yeah, I'm just gonna ask them the question: is that a subjective or objective?
It's an objective thought.
Yeah, is it objective to that point? Is it objective to you? It's objective to others. It could be objective to you, perfect, but it's subjective to others because there's somebody that absolutely has an opposing view on that, and it's irrelevant at the.
And some of those folks said
it's like it's true to you, of course, it's your truth, but it's not the truth, brother. Like, what is going on?
The researchers then.
Well, that's the thing. Then you're just begging the question because I am saying my truth is the truth.
I'm just talking about your hypothetical. I wasn't talking about you.
No, that's what I'm saying about the hypothetical. The response fails because it just begs the question of the view. Your response is like, oh no, look, there's this distinction between your perspective and the truth, and I'm saying there is no distinction in the first place.
How not?
Huh?
How not? How is there no distinction? I mean, how not?
Like, do you want me to explain the view? Or like, whatever else? Okay, so when I think something, it's true in like the temple scriptural rule that we live in.
I'm not buying these again.
Hero for the hood. Begin voting in elections.
Okay.
That's why.
You. Then what? Like what? Okay.
Well, that's obviously a stupid view, but the point just goes to say, like, I agree with you. Like, from our belief, like, from the standpoint of somebody else.
Just looking at you of why you need to say it in the first place. If you feel like it's true to you, knowing that there's somebody that has an opposing view that disagrees with you, what do you need to say it for? What is the point? Trying to convince them or trying to convince yourself?
The reason is to show that your like objective subjective dichotomy doesn't work.
That's the question, James. I don't know why you changed it around. Is them people trying to convince us?
Well, you asked me earlier why am I presenting this? Is this like when you're going in the you're asking my motivation for presenting this? I'm giving you my motivation is just to explain. Your response to Jimmy doesn't really work once you actually think about it. Like, the problem is atheism just can't, in my opinion, they can't make sense of the objective subjective distinction. It doesn't make sense.
Is that subjective or
that's subjective?
The atheists can't make sense. Now they just come in and say you don't make sense. It's like you don't understand the type of game, man. It never ends. I just wonder when is the truth gonna come?
That's the point. Like the truth. Like just even thinking of it. Like, there's postmodernists that think everything they think is true. That's not my point. Like it just shows that like once you try to use this kind of arguments against other people, you're just going to point out the great question. So you need something further to explain.
I don't need anything, brother. I'm just showing how you deflected. And it's possible as the observer, is very fascinating to show that you know that it's like delusional at this point, that you absolutely know that everything is subjective. I don't understand why you don't.
What's the delusion? Like, what's the delusional aspect of what I say?
Because you feel like it's subjective to you, but you know it's subjective to others.
Right, that's just you saying my view is false, which is fine.
You never said that was false. As the observer, I would never.
That's my point. I know that I think that observer just is rhetoric to avoid the fact that what you're saying is my view is false. But yeah, you may not say it verbally and that way, but you're saying it by implication.
I'm actually saying why you don't choose the coin I'm actually saying your view, your truth, what you feel to be true about your God can be true to you only, and to whoever believes in your truth. And the atheist or the agnostic truths can be true to them. Instead, y'all will be clashing in this arrogant ego conversation trying to figure out who was right and who was wrong. And you know this been happening before you probably came into life out your mother's womb, and probably be happening after you die. I just wonder.
It doesn't even make sense.
How not?
Other than what you're doing is just subtly equivocating. Like, yeah, what you're saying is you may believe that, and other people can believe that, and we could just go our separate ways. That's true. But, like, there's nothing wrong with it. That's not the dispute we were just having.
So you just said it makes no sense, but you just said there's nothing wrong with it. So what's wrong? Like, make your mind, Vincent. Is it something wrong with people living their life holding to the view that God doesn't exist, and you can live your life holding to the view
that's not what I said. That's not what I said. Didn't make sense. What didn't make sense was the subjective objective dialectic before. In order just to say, well, that's just true of your view, not true of actually reality. The whole point of the thing is to provide an argument, right? Like that's what he's trying. He's giving you like a run-of-the-mill tag argument. I can see what he's doing. So when you say it's subjective to you because you believe it, that's not that's just not a correct way to go about the matter. That's what I'm saying is incoherent. And then you kind of switched what I said in the middle of what we were talking about to say, oh, well, what you're saying is that people can't disagree. No, I never said that. I said people can disagree. It's not the fact that they disagree. It's just that disagreement doesn't show that your claim is subjective. Like, there is no justification for them. There's no, like, that's what I'm saying. It's
no claim for them to show that they claim is subjective.
Say that again?
There's nothing for them to show, right?
There's nothing for them to show.
Mm-hmm.
Put more meat on the bone. There's nothing.
You're talking about the atheists, correct?
I was just talking about you just a minute ago.
What can you be talking about the observer? There's nothing to say about me, brother. I'm just showing that I've been doing this forever. Like the brother just said in the chat, the song that never ends. When does this end? When do we come to a conclusion? All of us in humanity can say on. I know you're probably going to say it just doesn't matter. Does God exist? We all can stand on. Does God not exist? So we all just don't know. Do you ever know when this ever ends? Or we will just have to wait until death to see?
The obvious point here is that we already think like there's good reasons to believe God exists. We were trying to give. I think Jimmy was trying to give some of those motivations with some kind of tag argument.
It's all subjective, though.
That's just stupid, man.
How not? You gotta give good arguments why God not exists. I could pick a hard atheist in here right now that shows why God not exists. What methodology do I use to watch peasants to come to the conclusion of who is true and who is false? I just have to wait till the last minute.
Because all you're doing is saying, okay, all your beliefs are unjustified. Even though you're not like saying you're saying it, that's all you're saying. It's just not a real. It's just a claim. That's all it is.
I never said any of that. It's like you're assuming all through the conversation.
Nah, it's just what you're saying, bro. It's like you don't get what you're saying, but everyone else knows.
You just have to make assumptions instead of asking questions.
No, it's just not. It's okay. When you ask, is it subjective? Are you saying those are just my beliefs and there are no justifications for them? Is that what you're asking?
I'm not saying there's no justification. I'm just asking, is this based on your own opinions, and it's not like a universal fact that we all...
Let's just ask if there's no justification. See, that's what I mean.
I never said that.
Okay, well, you don't have to say it. Like, it's a trick question. You know what I mean?
A trick question?
Yeah.
Why so?
You have, because once I show you the entailment, you just deny that's the entailment when I ask you, and then after I answer, the conclusion is just going to be you slip back the entailment. It's a bait and switch. You say the language doesn't entail there's any that I'm making any claims about the justification status of your belief, and then you turn around right after the fact to say this is justification status of your beliefs is that there is none, which is the entire point. Oh, it's
alright, Nick. Vincent. I'm sorry. It's alright, brother. It's okay if you can answer the question.
Like that, even that rhetorical thing shows you're not being honest. Because like the whole point is just like, hey, look, I hear what you're saying. I'm not. You further clarify. There's no attempt on your part because you know that's what you're doing. It's really bad.
I'm not doing anything, brother.
Would you use a lobster as bait for fishing?
I watched you as too. What do you mean by that?
Are you saying it's an objective truth that you're doing, or is it just...
Would you use a lobster as
This is my kingdom come.
Is that going to be an objective definition, or your...
Give me a second. Give me a second. A person who follow events, especially political ones, closely, and comments on them. A person who watches what happened but has no active part in it. Is that God right now? Does he have no active part in this conversation, but he's watching us speaking? Yes.
No, well,
Yeah, he's not an active participant. I haven't heard him speak one time.
So he's watching what happens as we're speaking right now. He's not an active participant in it.
I thought that was a part of the definition of observing.
Okay, perfect. So that's what I mean. I have no participant in this conversation. None of you guys know my position, and I'm just watching.
No, we know your position, bro.
What is my position?
Believe in God's for dummies. You guys are dumb. There's no justification. It's just your subjective belief. Yes, yeah, you did.
I never said that on my mouth in this room.
Oh my gosh. He's doing the Aqua D-Dot fallacy. He's like, those explicit words do not come out of my mouth, okay? I said your dumb shit, you believe bullshit. But I did not say your beliefs do not have justification. You see, I said they're bullshit. There's a difference. It's very important. Very important.
I remember two things you said. Number one, you said that Christianity and atheism is two sides of the same coin. The other thing you said is that everything you have to present here is subjective. And on those two claims alone, what you have to do is all I needed to know were those two claims. That's it.
You know what makes me feel pain? When us small content creators put so much work into our videos and trying to make them so entertaining, we get a minimum of 300 views, and then in maximum of 500. But these girls on TikTok, you know what makes me?
I had that one viewer, and that viewer made me keep going. And each day more. Week 2, I started averaging 4 viewers. Week 3, 8 viewers. Week 4, 20 viewers. So on and so on and so on. So I streamed every day. I didn't care about nothing else but YouTube streaming.
Calm as the peacemaker. One thing if all you can just hang up your jerseys and just go on with your life. All around the Russell. Like that until around the and just live our life. So I don't look at anything which I say as bullshit. I'm just wondering, when does this end? When do you guys come to peace? That's all I want is peace.
When Christ returns, that's when we come.
Exactly.
Well said,
Exactly. So until Christ
Morons.
comes, no peace. Just wars, soldiers going at it with one another.
Why are you so preoccupied with lack of peace?
Peasants.
Why does that matter?
What do you mean it doesn't matter? I mean, if you want to sit here and go through the war and do this forever and ever until your subjective opinion of Christ, your subjective opinion of Christ coming, sure. I mean, I'll just be sitting back where your Christ is at.
Oh, the questions we tell ourselves, bro. Listen to my question.
Death is the only.
Listen to my question. Why do you care so much about this lack of peace? Why does it matter?
The same reason God cares. You know what I mean? I would never put the comparison that I am your God, but at the same reason, I'm trying to wonder if you God.
Dilemma. Your dilemma is I'm not in a dilemma, Dusty. You're doing it again. Wait. Do I need to? Do I need to shout?
Look at that.
Your dilemma is that you cannot produce your claim. Johnny said. And I don't give a shit about Johnny. Yeah, Johnny, I'm going to tell you where this comes from. You have a bad relationship with your father, bro. That's why you.
Oh no. That's a what?
What does that mean?
What's that sound?
believe, by God's grace, I did my duty that day to support the peaceful transfer of power under the Constitution of the United States of
Intentional
America.
bad data. I'm not reading it off right now, so.
I will
It's
always
feeding
believe,
intentional bad data to AI, and it can be good because it helps
By God's
you
grace.
look for.
She's a con artist.
for AI. So it's used for that, for good.
But you gotta
Or for
understand,
evil, to
this is
screw
what
up
we
your
do.
AI.
We will continue to
To
show
make
up
it give bad
at
output.
every protest from anybody
Yeah, fiddle-dee-dee,
that's gonna
got something
protest
right.
against our president.
I think Future's going to correct you.
Okay, go ahead, Future.
Yeah, so first of all, when you run local models on your computer, right? Like if you go and download a program like LM Studio, and you go and download a model like Google has Gemma, I'm waiting to see when Grok is going to have a good one for us. Meta 4 is the latest from Facebook, but that one takes too much memory to run because while it's open source, it's inconvenient to run because you need a very big GPU to fit memory to start it up. When you start these models up, the ones that are small enough to run on your computer are fucking dog shit. So for the most part, you know, if you have like a Mac or you have a PC that has like a relatively normal graphics card and you don't have top of the line equipment, you're kind of limited in what you can run to begin with. So they generally are not super useful for really much of anything besides kind of toying around with, right? So the probability that it's going to hallucinate for you without you like trying to fuck with it too much is extremely high. So when you for example, if I put a video screen up and I ask Gemma 1B, right, and the number and the letter there are the number of parameters on the model, and so that means 1 billion, which is the smallest Gemma model. I can run it super fast, but if I tell it to like do something, right, if I tell it like, you know, clean up this file that has, you know, errors in it and output it in this certain format, it's not very good at it because it's kind of like an intern that, you know, is not from the United States and hardly knows English, and so can only interpret a fraction of what you tell it, right, with your instruction set. When you scale that up to the most sophisticated models that are out there, right, and so that would be Grok 3.5, which we're hopefully going to get to play with sometime very, very soon because I'm super excited about that, or Google Gemini 2.5 Pro, or even Google Flash 2.0. The bigger the model, the more context that can fit in the model, the better the data set that it's been trained on is. The more sophisticated the parameter set is that it's been trained on, right?
Right.
The higher the probability that you're going to get a correct response to what you're asking for from it. So, in the context of like what a normal person would be doing to perform adversarial AI, right? It's hard to make an analogy. I can't really think of a good analogy. So basically, like, there's a term in computers science that's called garbage in, garbage out.
Woke Pope a problem?
Oh, yeah, he wasn't Pope Francis. Yeah, globalist, 100%. I think the problem is people have as Trump in his office of being the president of the United States is, you know, literally going to a territory that's bad taste. Say the least. Mighty, go ahead, finish up there, Mighty.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And, you know, Christian Zionists, they didn't have any, growing up here in San Francisco, I didn't notice any significant influence or power where I lived at all. I mean, even today, San Francisco is 23% Catholic. We were, you know, greater in number back, you know, in the 70s and 80s. You know, the fact is the Charlie Kirks of the country, the Ben Shapiros, they're, you know, his ally, they rule the roost. And so the world fucking hates us, and rightfully so. Maybe if you're a Zionist Christian and you're in this space, you want to come up here and contest what's being said. I mean, am I lying? I never lie, by the way. It's kind of the beauty of being raised from actual bullshit. But unless I want to be
everybody. While you're at a pause, we got Travis came up here. Go ahead, Travis, and then we got Tennessee. Go ahead, Travis.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I woke up and I decided to join the space, and I heard Mighty.
I'm glad you did, brother.
I heard Mighty talking about my favorite subject as a fellow drummer, because I grew up with music all my life and stuff like that. Learning to read it and write it, and later on in life, joining professional bands and stuff like that. My first professional band, a lot of you guys are probably going to laugh, landed me up in a musical genre of doom metal. I mean, it's loosely contrived from like the like Black Sabbath and all that stuff, which was basically hard rock back in the day. And I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And you know, I love a lot of these bands. And me, I was born in 1970, so pretty soon here, and I mean very soon.
Me too, Travis. Me too.
Right on, cool, man. And I mean, pretty soon here, I'll be 55 years old. But you know, the thing is you talked about something that's very, very near and dear to me, because I remember as a kid, and God, I remember those records being busted out sometimes because I grew up in orchestra, first learning clarinet, and then later on being steered towards percussion, and then I ended up with my own, traps. I mean, if you grew up with classic or jazz, you call it that, but you end up with your own drum kit as a kid, being able to afford one, So I remember the Hal Leonard albums, which is the music plus one, and I remember those being busted out by the teachers, because what you can do with those is that you can learn the intricacies of like the lead sections, and again, it's very important because everything is learned either by sight or by ear. So just strictly, reading and writing the actual notations of whatever instrument that you're playing, that's also equally important if that's the route that you're going to do. And a lot of musicians, even I myself, do end up getting frustrated